Chapter 329. Li Fan poured in the noodle soup, then pressed his hand on the iron pot and turned it. The four-sided flat-bottom iron pot spun on the stove, and it was very stable, not flying out of the stove. Including the pancake that had already been baked, it was tightly attached to the iron pot. Everyone was very surprised, but Li Fan did not seem to be afraid of the heat. He reached out and patted the four pots. The pancake on top was immediately sent flying. It spun in the air, flipped over, and landed back on the hot pot. Li Fan scattered the remaining seasonings, and the steaming hot and fragrant pancake was ready to be served. Freshly baked kung fu pancake. Welcome to try. Li Fan shouted loudly, and his voice instantly filled everyone's ears. This was the magic sound flooding the brain. Li Fan didn't need to raise his voice too loudly to let everyone hear his voice. For a moment, everyone's gaze fell on Li Fan. And many of the onlookers immediately came up to buy the pancakes. For pancakes were instantly taken out, and many people had already lined up. Li Fan did not delay for a moment, and continued to use his unique kung fu method to bake the pancakes. Li Fan's movements were very fast. Furthermore, he used his unique true energy to heat the pancakes, which could make the pancakes cook faster, and the taste penetrated deeper. Everyone who ate the pancakes was full of praise, and the line became longer and longer. Yuan Chuanli and Lin Yuhin were dumbfounded, and could not believe their eyes. Li Fan actually knew how to do this. Li Fan. Even if you specialize in selling pancakes, you will definitely be able to make a fortune. In just an hour, Li Fan had caught up to her usual daily sales. Yuan Chuanli rubbed her eyes and looked at Li Fan as if she was looking at the god of fortune. I've learned boxing before. Li Fan laughed. This is just a small matter. Actually, I'm far worse than Auntie. No, it's already very good. Yuan Chuanli was now full of admiration for Li Fan. Even the pancakes were so good. Her daughter's taste was really good. She had really inherited her genes. Soon, the ingredients that Yuan Chuanli had prepared were all sold out, and the customers left with unsatisfied expressions. The few of them tidied up the stall and prepared to get off work early. Yuan Chuanli even said that she would treat them to a meal to celebrate. But at this time, a few gangsters squeezed out from the crowd and surrounded Yuan Chuanli. The yellow hair was among them. As he dug his nose, he looked at Li Fan with a smile. Not bad, business is good. You must have made a lot of money. Thank you for taking care of me. I did earn a little. When Yuan Chuanli saw so many people, she did not dare to make a sound. She quickly shielded her daughter behind her. Every single cent earned is clean money. Li Fan did not have the slightest bit of fear. Unlike you guys, all you earn is money for giving birth to a son without an ass. Brat, you're very arrogant, aren't you? From behind the yellow hair, a man draped in a black mink coat walked out. This man looked a little like a nouveau riche. He had a pipe in his hand and a thick gold necklace hung around his neck. Brother. The yellow hair quickly bowed respectfully and moved to the side, but did not forget to introduce him to Li Fan. Open your eyes. This is our big brother. He's in charge of this area. You have to call him Master Chong, do you understand? Master Chong? I've never heard of him. Li Fan's expression was as if he was talking to an ordinary person. As for the peddlers at the side, they were all afraid of getting into trouble, so they all hid far away. Good kid, you have quite the guts. Master Chong blew out a smoke ring and looked at Li Fan disdainfully. No wonder you dare to go against our yellow-clothed group. You're really ignorant. How many years has it been since anyone dared to speak to me like this? That might be because you're deaf. The way Li Fan spoke made the surrounding people shocked. Did this kid not want his life anymore? This Master Chong's name was Ren Chong. He was a famous local tyrant. He was usually in charge of this market, and the rules for buying ingredients from them were also set by him. In this market, Ren Chong was like a little emperor. He ate and drank here and never spent a single cent. It's not that he didn't want it, but no one dared to ask him for money. Ren Chong's nickname was Skin Flayer. Kid, you don't look like an ordinary person. Tell your Master Chong, which street are you from? Me. Private Second High School. Li Fan pointed at his badge. Second High School's little tyrant Li Fan, Please advise me. Motherfucker, you're playing with me. Ren Qiong frowned. A 1.9-meter-tall man behind him immediately stepped forward and slapped Li Fan. Motherfucker, I'll teach you how to speak to your big brother. He tried to slap Li Fan, but Li Fan easily grabbed his wrist and twisted it. Crack. This brother's wrist was directly broken. He screamed in pain and knelt on the ground. I think you should learn some manners first. Li Fan had a smile on his face, but he was like a fiend, causing the hoodlums in front of him to stare blankly. This man is so scary when he smiles. And while talking and laughing, he broke his brother's hand. Wait. You are Li Fan? Ren Qiong suddenly remembered something. The one who broke through Su Chen's stage and even beat up young Master Yang. The one Li Fan? Ari, everyone actually knows about this. Li Fan was a bit surprised. Sure enough, good news doesn't go out, but bad news travels 1,000 miles. Ren Qiong felt that his legs were slightly weak. This Li Fan is a bit powerful now. He heard that his skills are good and he has the support of the Red Dragon Society's young miss, Liu Xinnan. This man. Why did he come here? Li Fan. I know you are powerful, but this is the Yellow Uniform Group's territory. It has nothing to do with your Red Dragon Society. Ren Qiong mustered his courage and reminded Li Fan. No matter how powerful Li Fan is, the rules of the underworld are set by everyone. Even if he is a popular person in the Red Dragon Society, he must abide by it. Let me clarify something. I am not from the Red Dragon Society. I am just an ordinary high school student. Li Fan saw that the hoodlum with a broken arm was trying to get up, so he directly stepped on his arm. With a crack, that hoodlum's arm was broken. He directly fainted from the pain. Whether you are with the Red Dragon Society or not. In short, outsiders should not interfere with the Yellow Uniform Group's matters. Then what if I insist on interfering? Li Fan, don't go too far. The rules of the market are dead. If you don't pay, I won't be able to explain it to others. Today, you have to pay up whether you don't want to or not. Why, are you preparing to use force? Li Fan said loudly, in broad daylight, I don't believe you dare to do anything. Kid, you look down on the Yellow Uniform Group. Today I will let you experience it. Chapter 330. With that, Ren Qiong whistled. Suddenly, about 100 hooligans squeezed out of the crowd and formed a human wall, isolating Li Fan and the others from the stall. I'm a very reasonable person. Ren Qiong took a puff of his cigarette and said slowly, I don't hit people, it's against the law. But, I'll drag it out with you to the end so that you can't continue your business. Using more than 100 underlings to harm a small stall owner, the Yellow Clothes Group was really generous. Can you afford to use so many people to drag it out with me every day? Li Fan was not afraid as he held Lin Yuhin's cold hand and asked with a smile. Brother, you're looking down on Big Brother, aren't you? Ren Qiong laughed. I still have this bit of financial ability. If you don't believe me, we can try and see who can't hold it out first. Sure. Li Fan also laughed. I still have some business in other places. I'll use my other income to support my pancake stall. I'd like to see if I can handle it alone, or if the 100 of you can. Ren Qiong was slightly moved. This Li Fan's financial ability, since he knew Liu Xinnan, then it should not be bad. Moreover, what if the Red Dragon Society was behind this? If Liu Xinnan wanted to use him as an example and first drag down Ren Qiong's territory, then wouldn't he become a sacrifice? Ren Qiong was not stupid. In that instant, he thought about a lot of things and finally decided to slow down this matter. It was not worth it to be angry with Li Fan. It was indeed not suitable for 100 people to play with his pancake stall. Ren Qiong decided to use another method to talk to Li Fan. Li Fan, let's talk. Talk about what? Li Fan could feel that Ren Qiong was afraid. But he was not afraid of himself, but Liu Xinnan behind him. After all, even if he had some fame, he was just one person and a high school student at that. The underworld was different from the past. In the past, one needed to be brave enough to fight and kill. But now, it was all about background and connections. Take Su Chen for example. This guy doesn't have much ability. He's in charge of an underground boxing ring, but his body is weak. But it was precisely because he was popular and had a strong background that he was able to cover such a large underground blackboxing ring. Li Fan, your pancake stall has broken the rules of our entire market. Ren Qiong tried to be as gentle as possible. We're both people who want to save face. I'll give you a compromise. What do you think? A compromise? What's a compromise? How about this? You still have to come here to buy raw materials, but I can give you a discount. I guarantee that it will be cheaper than the raw materials you bought before. You won't lose out, and I haven't broken my rules. What do you think? No. Unexpectedly, Yuan Chuanli flatly refused. Although I, Yuan Chuanli, am running a small business, I can't do those evil things. Her gaze was resolute. The raw materials you sell are basically a scam. The last time I bought some eggs from you, they were all rotten when I came back. Wouldn't people get sick if they ate the pancakes made from such raw materials? They're dirty, but they won't get sick after eating them. How many of the things in the market are clean? Ren Qiong said. The entire market is selling our raw materials. Who do you think will get sick after eating them? In any case, I won't sell them. Yuan Chuanli would never give in. Back then, her husband had also been stimulated by the fake wine and ended up in such a state. Since Auntie insists, then I'll accompany Auntie to the end. Li Fan looked at the gangsters around him, then at Ren Qiong. From today onwards, you don't have to worry about this market. You sure talk big. Ren Qiong was a little annoyed. This was the first time he had spoken softly, but the other party did not give him any face. Looks like you're going to break the rules of the Yellow Shirt Society today. Li Fan, Liu Xinnan asked you to do this, right? You want to make an example out of me, Ren Qiong? I'm not that easy to bully. Brothers, smash their stall for me, and break this woman's legs for me too. At most, we'll just compensate them and send them to the hospital. Don't break the rules of my market. Ren Qiong was furious. This was his last resort. He was the boss of this market. If he did not make an example of them, who would be convinced by him? With Ren Qiong's order, all the gangsters turned around in unison. They were holding pickaxes, metal bars, and so on as they walked towards Li Fan. The Yellow Shirt Society was different from the other gangs. As one of the three major gangs in a city, the Yellow Shirt Society had been developing the lower ranks of the gang. Therefore, they had a lot of people in their gang, but it was also a mix of good and bad people. Only the Yellow Uniform Syndicate would be able to bring out so many gangsters at once. The Red Dragon Society and the Vanguard Army were more elite. There were not many gangsters in the lower ranks, but they had many professional fighters. With so many gangsters surrounding them, Yuan Chuanli's face turned pale. When she looked at Lin Yuhin, she seemed to have calmed down a lot. Moon Immortal. You're not afraid. Yuan Chuanli could not help but ask. No, Li Fan is here. Even if he knows how to fight. Can he fight 100 alone? Mom, believe in him. Lin Yuhin seemed to have a blind faith in Li Fan, but that was only limited to fighting. Wouldn't it have been better if you had done this earlier? Li Fan laughed. He reached out his hand and ran to the boss's sugarcane stall. He picked up a sugarcane and waved it in his hand. Ridiculous. Ren Qiong could not help but laugh. Do you think you're Sun Wukong, fighting 100 of us alone? If I'm Sun Wukong, you guys are just some little monsters. Li Fan said as he drew a circle around the stall. Auntie, Moon Immortal, you guys stand in this circle. I'll guarantee your safety. What a joke. He really thinks his Sun Wukong. Ren Qiong felt that Li Fan was very childish. He lit up his pipe again and looked like he was watching a show. He was ready to see how Li Fan would be beaten up by his own people until he begged for mercy. The Yellow Uniform Group and the Red Dragon Society were going to fight sooner or later. He might as well start the fight. After all, it was the Red Dragon Society who provoked them first. Even if the higher-ups asked, he had an excuse. Brothers, I'll give the one who knocks this kid down 100,000 yuan as a reward. Ren Qiong said. The eyes of the hooligans turned red. They looked at Li Fan as if he was a moving mountain of gold. They fought each other like pigs out of their cages, fighting for food. Li Fan raised the sugar cane in his hand and stood at the edge of the circle. He still had a faint smile on his face, as if he did not care about these people at all. Kill him. A few hooligans had already rushed in front of Li Fan. They looked like they wanted to skin him alive. Chapter 331. Ren Qiong, who was originally proud of himself, suddenly froze. Because Li Fan had thrown the sugar cane in his hand. Like a tiger, the 5 hooligans were sent flying and fell to the side. What kind of strength was this? Moreover, how could the sugar cane have such great toughness? If he hit someone, shouldn't the sugar cane be broken? Ren Qiong felt that his brain was not enough to process it. This Li Fan's strength seemed to be a bit beyond his expectations. While Ren Qiong was still in shock, Li Fan had already sent more than 10 hooligans flying. These 100 hooligans did not seem to be enough for him to fight a few waves. The sugar cane in Li Fan's hand was like a god of war's big spear. Stabbing, picking, pulling, and throwing were used incisively and vividly. It was such a circle that the surrounding hooligans were actually unable to enter. "I'll knock you to death." A hooligan was more courageous. He pushed a cart from the side and ran madly towards Li Fan, but Li Fan was not afraid at all. He just stood there. The sugar cane rushed towards the cart, pressed down, and then flick. This cart filled with cement bags was actually flicked up by Li Fan with only a sugar cane. The cart flew over Li Fan's head and flew behind him. Li Fan turned his body and the sugar cane hit a few of the cement bags. The cement bags flew out and hit the surrounding hooligans, causing them to fall to the ground. After 2 minutes, the circle drawn by Li Fan was safe and sound. But out of the 100 hooligans, more than 50 of them were lying on the ground moaning. Li Fan carried the sugar cane and looked at the surrounding hooligans who did not dare to come forward. He laughed and said, "Why are you guys afraid? Don't you want to earn that 100,000 yuan? Brother Qiong, 100,000 yuan is looking down on me. Why don't you add a bit more money? Maybe your underlings will have more courage. How about it?" Li Fan's words overshadowed the host, making Ren Qiong gnash his teeth in hatred. They didn't know where this fellow got his ability from. 1 person against 100, and not only was he not at a disadvantage, he even beat them until their heads were bleeding. It seemed that Li Fan's victory in the underground boxing arena was well deserved. "Brother Qiong, your subordinates don't look like much. If you rely on them, I'm afraid you won't be able to take over the market." Li Fan pointed the sugar cane at Ren Qiong's face. "Oh right, you are the big brother. Why don't you come and play with me? You go." Ren Qiong pushed the blondie. "Didn't you say you were a martial arts champion when you were young? Beat him up." "Brother, that was when I was 8 years old. I've already returned it to my martial arts teacher." Blondie was also trembling violently. That brat's abilities were too great. He really became Sun Wukong beating up a little monster. How could his mediocre martial arts be mentioned in the same breath with others? "Trash. All of you are trash." Ren Qiong angrily cursed, "You bastard, I'll consider you ruthless today. This debt is not settled yet." With that, Ren Qiong turned around and was about to leave. But Li Fan swung his hand and the sugar cane flew out like a javelin. It pierced in front of Ren Qiong's feet and blocked his path. Ren Qiong's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He was quite frightened. "Brother Qiong, did I allow you to leave?" Li Fan's voice gradually turned cold. "Do you think that I, Li Fan, am easy to bully? After messing with me, you can leave as you please." "Brother, what are you trying to do?" Ren Qiong felt that something was wrong. "Let's talk it over." "There's nothing to talk about." Li Fan stood at the edge of the circle. He extended his hand and hooked it at the blondie. "Come, bring your brother Qiong in front of me." The surrounding hoodlums were stunned for a moment. Ren Qiong could not help but want to curse. "These are all my subordinates. How could they listen to you?" No one moved. Li Fan grabbed another sugar cane and threw it. Puff. "Ah, my leg." The sugar cane directly pierced through a hoodlum's calf. He knelt on the ground and screamed again and again. It was a horrifying scene. Seeing this scene, even Yuan Chunli felt a little afraid. But Lin Yuhin was not moved. It was as if she felt that what Li Fan did was reasonable. "Bring him here," Li Fan repeated. A few hoodlums hurriedly picked up their big brother and brought him in front of Li Fan. "Brother Chong, right?" Li Fan reached out and took the pipe from his mouth. He played with it in his hand. "This pipe is not bad. It's quite exquisite." Ren Chong was terrified. It was said that those who could fight would not be able to survive now. But once they could fight to a certain extent, it seemed that it was quite scary. This Li Fan, no wonder he was Liu Xinan's favorite. His skill was indeed good. But it would be hard on him. Whether he could safely get through today. "Sorry, I don't smoke." Li Fan patted Ren Chong's face. "But I like to set up a stall. You've already affected my business. What do you think I should do?" "Brother, you want me to withdraw from this market?" Ren Chong's face became uglier. "Look, aren't you quite smart? Why are you doing such a stupid thing?" Li Fan was already mocking him. "Brother, this market is very important to us, the yellow-clothed group." Ren Chong said, "It's impossible for us to give up. Even if I leave, there will be someone else to take over this place. How about this, you let me go? I'll still be the manager here. But your family's stall, I won't let them buy raw materials from me. Your idea is not bad. But wouldn't this make my family seem a bit selfish?" Li Fan rejected Ren Chong's suggestion. "Everyone in this place is doing some small business. It's fine if your raw materials are expensive, but the things you use are all scams. If I agree to you today, even if I die, the old ancestor will not let me go. Then, what do you mean? From today onwards, this market is under my management." Li Fan said bluntly, "No matter if it's the yellow-clothed group or whatever, whoever dares to cause trouble in my territory, don't blame me for not showing mercy." With that, Li Fan slapped the broken cart beside him. A palm print was immediately left on the iron plate of the cart, scaring Ren Chong so much that he almost peed. If this hit him, wouldn't that be terrible? "All of you scram." Li Fan slapped Ren Chong away. Ren Chong did not even dare to let out a fart as he turned and ran. Half of the yellow-clothed group had run away, but there were still 20 to 30 of them standing in front of Li Fan. After waiting for a long time, one of them knelt down first and the rest followed suit. "Damn, what are you guys doing? I don't have any red packets to give out." Li Fan was shocked. "Brother, let us follow you." Chapter 332. What? Li Fan was stunned for a moment. Looking at the group of people kneeling, this was the first time he was a little dazed. "Brother, we all want to work for you. Please accept us." A group of people wanted Li Fan to accept their kneeling, but Li Fan shook his head. "I'm sorry, I don't work in the underworld. If you don't accept us, we won't get up." No matter who these people followed, they had no ability. Other than being in the underworld, they really didn't know what to do. With these people kneeling here, Li Fan really had no way to deal with them. If they were here to cause trouble, he could chase them away in a few moves. But since they were kneeling here, he couldn't say anything. "Auntie, what should I do?" Li Fan looked at Yuan Chuanli as if he was asking for help, and Yuan Chuanli was also having a headache. She was just a businesswoman, how could she understand this kind of thing? Moreover, the way she looked at Li Fan was more or less a little fearful. "I think you can consider their opinions." Lin Yuhin actually instigated Li Fan, which made Li Fan a little confused. After all, you can't keep an eye on this place every day. It's good to leave some people to help manage it. What about the salary? Who will pay them to keep an eye on this place for free? Don't you have a friend? Lin Yuhin reminded Li Fan, and Li Fan suddenly understood, but he was still a little hesitant. "I don't want to be involved in the underworld." "I'm not asking you to be involved in the underworld. I'm just asking you to be in charge of managing this place." Lin Yuhin reminded Li Fan, "Otherwise, if those black-hearted fellows come back, wouldn't it be harder for us to survive? How about this, I'll ask Lei to come." Li Fan had no other way. He indeed had little experience in this kind of thing. He made a call and asked Lei to call a taxi over. These people really knelt until Huang Lei came over, and Li Fan gave him full authority to handle the matter. "What's going on?" "This is a memorial service. Why are they all kneeling down? When Huang Lei arrived and saw the group of people kneeling together, he couldn't help but tease them. Li Fan briefly explained the situation to him, but Huang Lei slapped his thigh. Brother, do you still need to think about this? Of course, we'll enlist him. Isn't it a good thing that they're willing to follow us? Good my ass. Li Fan slapped him. Don't get involved in the underworld, understand? Once you fall in, you won't be able to pull yourself out. We're not involved in the underworld, brother. Huang Lei was a talent in this aspect. I gathered these people together and opened a small security company here. The merchants here pay fees to me, and I am responsible for the security of this area. Isn't this solved? It doesn't involve the underworld, and it also solves the living needs of these people. We're basically fighting for territory with the yellow shirt group. What are you afraid of? Didn't you just say that you'll be in charge of this? Lin Yuhin rolled her eyes at Li Fan. Li Fan could only flick his shoulder. I've learned boxing before. Whether these hooligans can withstand it, I don't know. We're willing to learn boxing from you, the hooligans hurriedly echoed. No matter how tough or tiring it is, we can accept it. Brother, these people are looking at you with such admiration. Huang Lei couldn't help but mutter. It's like I'm seeing my past self. All right, my brother is also a soft-hearted person. As for me, I'm my brother's eldest disciple. All of you can learn from me in the future, and call me senior brother. Eldest senior brother, the hooligans shouted in unison, making Huang Lei feel comfortable all over. I don't think you're going to open a security company, but a martial arts school. Together. Isn't that great? Huang Lei chuckled. Let's call it Feifan Security Company. I'll get Guan Wenbao to come over and develop our second bucket of gold. You really won't let old Guan off. Looks like you're going to scam him as well. Li Fan was speechless. But after some thought, he felt that opening a security company was not a bad idea. Bodyguards and security guards were not that different, and Feifan Express could expand its business. But these hooligans in front of him really needed to be taught a lesson. Looking at their lethargic expressions, without a period of hellish training, they would not be of much help. Brother, leave it to me and old Guan to handle it. Huang Lei said. Old Guan comes from a prestigious family, he should be more experienced in martial art. All right. Since things had come to this, Li Fan did not want to dwell on it. After all, his fight with the yellow shirt group was basically set in stone. It was only a matter of time before he expanded Feifan Express. Then where should we set up the company? Li Fan looked at the huge market. There did not seem to be any loose space. Boss. A quick-witted man immediately said. Ren Qiong has a small mud building south of the market. It used to be a peddler's place. Later, Ren Qiong chased the peddler away and took over the mud building. Since Ren Qiong has run away, why don't we recycle the trash and continue using that mud building? Heh. You're taking the place and the building? Huang Lei was elated. Good. I like it. Li Fan rolled his eyes. As long as it was trouble, Huang Lei liked it. Then it's settled. Li Fan made the final decision. Opening a billiards hall is indeed not enough to support our escort agency. The rest of you can stay and train well with old Guan. If you don't want to stay or can't take the hardship, you can leave. I won't force you. Thank you, brother. Thank you, boss. Li Fan thought for a moment and said, we're still in a superior and subordinate relationship. In the future, the company will be operating properly. You can call me boss. And, Lei, get the business license as soon as possible. Don't forget it. Okay, brother, just wait and see. By the way, when will the rest of the payment arrive? Li Fan lowered his voice and asked. The 1 million yuan that Fu Fan promised had not arrived yet. It was not a small sum of money. It was impossible for Li Fan not to think about it. Was Boss Fu going to renege on his promise? They said it will arrive in 2 days. Huang Lei had urged him to. 1 million yuan. He wanted it more than anyone else. Now that the money had arrived, he had to find a place to have fun. Although brother had given him a ban, if he brought old Guan along, he would have someone to protect him, right? Of course, he could not tell old Guan directly. If he told him that he was going to experience the life that brother had experienced, he would definitely be cheated. He was such a talent. That's good. Keep urging them. If the money did not arrive, Li Fan always felt that the longer the delay, the more trouble there would be. Got it, brother. I'm going to start the security company now. Okay, go. Don't let them surround me. I still have to sell pancakes. Okay, then I won't disturb brothers flirting with girls. Get lost. Chapter 333. Li Fan opened a security company. A high school student opening a security company. Although it was a little new, it was not an earth-shattering event. Moreover, even the company was opened in the ancient city district's market. It felt like they were playing house. However, many people's gazes moved over and stared at this small security company. Li Fan, Huang Lei, and the others chose an auspicious day, and the company opened just like that. Extraordinary Security, this was the company's final name. And it was not that easy to open this company. Not far from the market, Ren Qiong sat in a big G8, smoking a pipe. As the eldest brother of this generation, he was not having a good time. He was frowning and there were silver strands on his temples. Brother, when are we going to make our move? The yellow hair sat beside Ren Qiong, holding a spear in his hand as he asked his big brother. No rush, wait a little longer. Ren Qiong puffed out a smoke ring. We'll wait for him to shoot, then we'll go. When we open, we'll smash him to his heart's content and make him lose all face. But, big brother, his kung fu is quite powerful. Are we enough? The yellow hair could not help but worry. There was a G8 around, which was Ren Qiong's car. There were also 4 Wuling Hongguang, which were all Ren Qiong's capable subordinates. Each of them was holding a spear in their hands. This spear was made from a tri-edge army knife tied to a mop. It was 2 meters long and extremely sharp. A single shot could pierce a hole in a person, especially the blood groove on it. It was very cruel. If it really stabbed a person a few times, they would basically be dead. This time, Ren Qiong was ruthless. He had to get back at them. He had not told Wang Baiqiang about this matter because it was too shameful. As long as he could snatch back his territory, this matter would naturally be over. Don't worry, these people are all thugs that I carefully selected. Ren Qiong took a deep breath of his pipe. They are all good fighters, and their attacks are ruthless. Other than the spear, Ren Qiong also prepared a bag of feces. He asked the thugs to prepare a plastic bag for each of them and tied it with a rubber rope. The bag was filled with fresh cow dung. This was a special weapon invented by Ren Qiong. He couldn't get his hands on a grenade, so he researched this thing called a shit grenade. When this shit grenade was thrown out, it had a miraculous effect. It was definitely a double fatal blow to the soul and body. When the time comes, listen to my slogan. Today, I will let Li Fan know the consequences of provoking me, Ren Qiong. Ren Qiong wanted to throw his pipe on the ground and stomp on it. But when he looked at his famous pipe carefully, he still couldn't bear to part with it. 5 vehicles, 30 people, 30 spears, 30 bags of shit grenades, they were all waiting for orders. Finally, the sound of firecrackers came from the Tulu. Ren Qiong's eyes lit up. With a wave of his hand, the doors of the 5 cars opened at the same time, and everyone jumped out. The sky was very bright, not suitable for doing bad things. However, Ren Qiong felt that he was snatching back what belonged to him. This was justice. He personally carried a spear and led his proud lackeys through the crowd, squeezing to the ground floor of Li Fan's company. When he arrived here, Ren Qiong was dumbfounded. In his imagination, when Li Fan's company opened, it should be deserted. But now, it was simply overcrowded. In front of a small dilapidated Tulu, who knew how many luxury cars were parked. Ren Qiong was a scheming person. He had memorized the license plate numbers of all the famous people in City A. And the license plate numbers of these luxury cars in front of him were all recorded by him. Li Fan opened a lousy security company, and Liu Shennan actually came in person. Not only her, but even Yang Ruining came. Why was there a military car? Oh my god, Liu Shanlong, the big boss of the military who hadn't been mobilized for many years, one of the three giants of City A, was also here. Ren Qiong felt a wave of dizziness. Just 10 minutes before Ren Qiong arrived, Li Fan personally stood at the door and greeted these people with a smile. Your building is a little too run down. Liu Xinnan frowned and looked at Li Fan's place with some discomfort. It's a little run down. After all, it's a place that was robbed. It's good enough that it can take root. Li Fan deliberately wore a suit and a tie today. He had a sense of urgency and was very uncomfortable. Every martial artist liked loose clothes the most. For example, kung fu clothes and sportswear. But today was the opening day, so Li Fan couldn't complain. This outfit was also chosen by Lin Yuhin for him. Even the tie was tied by Lin Yuhin. After all, it was a security company opened in the market. Naturally, Lin Yuhin came over to help. Li Fan reached out and adjusted his tie. Liu Xinnan was about to complain more when Liu Shanlong patted Li Fan's shoulder. Not bad, young man. You have your own place at such a young age. When I was your age, I just joined the army and left my hometown. I didn't even have a route. You're flattering me. Li Fan hurriedly said, how can I compare to you? You're a junior. This dignified boss of City A came in person on his opening day, which was already giving him a lot of face. In any case, Li Fan had to give him some face. Little brother, you're not bad. When Liu Shanlong was invited by Lin Luo for tea, Su Chen dared to come up and talk to Li Fan. In the future, I'll leave the security of my place to you. Big brother, you're really good at making fun of me. Li Fan followed with a laugh. Liu Xinnan, who was next to him, muttered again. How about I renovate it for you? No, please don't. Li Fan hurriedly said, I'm fine. When I have money in the future, I'll renovate it myself. And this building is quite unique. Just use it first. It'll be fine even if it's windy and rainy. Liu Xinnan knew Li Fan's temper, so she didn't say anything more. Instead, her eyes fell on Guan Wenbao. Guan Wenbao, how about staying here? Do you want to come back to my place? I'll give you a salary of 100,000 yuan a month, a car, and a house. How about that? Guan Wenbao didn't say anything and turned his head to the side. Our old Guan is not a money grubber. Li Fan glared at Liu Xinnan. Don't give me that. If 100,000 yuan is not enough, I'll pay you 1 million yuan a month. How about that? At this moment, Yang Ruining happened to get out of his car and walked towards Li Fan with a smile on his face with two of his underlings. Hey, isn't this young Master Yang? What brings you here? Li Fan looked at Yang Ruining with a smile. It's really rare. Brother, you're treating me like an outsider. Brother, your new company is opening. As your big brother, I should come to support you. Yang Ruining looked at Li Fan with a fake smile, which made people feel a little uncomfortable. Chapter 334. Big brother is so generous. As a younger brother, I am flattered. Li Fan laughed, but first looked warily at the two followers on Yang Ruining's left and right. Little brother, don't worry, big brother didn't bring any experts today. Yang Ruining laughed. That expert from the Medicine King Valley's Yin Gate last time was really weak, to think I treated him so well. I see that the door god behind you seems to be quite powerful. Why don't you give him to big brother, me? Young Master Yang, you've made a mistake. Liu Xinnan rolled her eyes, looking down on this Yang Ruining. This door god was poached from me by Li Fan. Even I can't handle it, and you want to interfere. Nan, just because you can't handle it doesn't mean that I can't. Yang Ruining's face was full of confidence. I, Yang Ruining, still have some influence in City A, big brother. I'm embarrassed to reject you, but I can't force my brother. Li Fan clapped his hands. How about this? I'll help you ask my brother. If he's willing, I won't stop him. What do you think? Sure, my brother is very kind. Yang Ruining was overjoyed. As long as he gave enough money, he didn't believe that this door god wouldn't be moved. Old Guan, this is Yang Ruining, a famous young master in City A. Following him is different from following me. If you follow him, I guarantee that you'll have a good life. Li Fan said to Guan Wenbao. That's natural, a salary of 1 million a month, This price is definitely the highest in the industry. The price that young Ruining offered was already shockingly high. $1 million a month, that would be more than $10 million a year. To raise him for 10 years, young Ruining would have to fork out $100 million. This kind of high salary would definitely make people scramble for it. However, Guan Wenbao was very calm. He stood there and said in a neutral tone, "That's right. How can a man bow down for 5 buckets of rice? I won't do it." Fuck, young Ruining wanted to curse. Did he have 5 buckets of rice? His annual salary was 10 million. Were these people who practiced martial arts fools? If they didn't want to work for an annual salary of tens of millions, what else did they want? Young Ruining was very unhappy in his heart. Why couldn't he invite a true expert even if he spent money? And those who could be invited were all killed by Li Fan. This is too fucking unfair. Was there anything in this world that money couldn't solve? Young Ruining didn't quite believe it. An annual salary of 10 million? Is there such a good thing? Huang Lei was imparting his insights to a security guard. When he heard the conversation, he immediately became interested and walked over. "If old Guan doesn't want to do it, I will." "You are." Young Ruining frowned and looked at Huang Lei. "Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Huang Lei, Li Fan's first disciple." Huang Lei revealed a seemingly heavyweight identity, and young Ruining was also interested. "If you want to come, that's fine." To be able to poach Li Fan's eldest disciple over to his side, he had also profited greatly. "How is your kung fu compared to your master? It shouldn't be too far behind, right?" Young Ruining looked at Huang Lei with anticipation, but Huang Lei slapped his thigh and said confidently, "My kung fu is inherited from my master. Have you ever heard of a student surpassing his master? I can fight more than 100 people by myself without any pressure." Young Ruining was just short of transferring the money on the spot, but Guan Wenbao said coldly, "Don't brag. You don't know any kung fu at all." "Fuck, if I don't know, I can't brag. It's not against the law," Huang Lei said resentfully, while young Ruining almost vomited blood. After being forced to use a knife for so long, he is just an ordinary hooligan. "Lei, don't mess around. Go and take care of your people." These small security guards are now under Huang Lei's responsibility. After all, they have been in the underworld before and understand each other better. "All right, I'll continue with my work. If there's anything, just call me, big brother." Huang Lei turned his head and left. Young Ruining was very depressed. "Why can't I invite a master?" He looked up and found that on the roof of this earth building, a handsome man in white was slowly practicing Tai Chi. That move and style are obviously the style of a master. Is he also your friend?" Oh, his name is Yang Kai. He is also my brother, the successor of Wudong. His kung fu is excellent." Li Fan nodded. Young Ruining did not miss any opportunity and shouted to the person on the roof, "Brother, do you want to work under me? I don't work for others." Yang Kai seriously practiced Tai Chi, and then slowly said to young Ruining below, "But if you want to learn martial arts, I can teach you. The most important thing in Tai Chi is the horse stance, the legs must be stable, and the front gate must be tight." Yang Kai said, his eyes fell on young Ruining, "If you are interested in learning, let me try your legs and front gate first, how about it?" Young Ruining felt a chill and waved his hand again and again, "Forget it. Damn it. Why does this man in white look like he got in through the back door? What kind of people does this Li Fan know?" Young Ruining memorized the appearance of these people in his heart. Maybe it will be useful in the future. Between him and Li Fan, there will definitely be a life and death struggle. In the future, when I find a master, I must find someone who is more powerful than these people. Money makes the world go round. Spending money can invite a real master. "Brother, you see that I'm here today, aren't you going to invite me in for a cup of tea?" Young Ruining wanted to go into the building to take a look. No one knew what was on his mind. "Big brother, it's not that I don't want you to go in, but those who go in to drink tea are all our customers." Li Fan lied through his teeth. At this time, Liu Shanlong's shout came from the building. "Little Li, your tea doesn't taste good. Get me some wine." Li Fan looked awkward, So he changed the topic. Anyway, it's not very peaceful here. As you can see, it's a bustling ancient city. Big brother, you're such a pampered person, how can you suffer in such a place? If something really happens, as your little brother, I can't bear the responsibility. It's broad daylight, what could possibly happen? Just as young Ruining's voice fell, there was a commotion outside. A group of men with spears in their hands separated the crowd and squeezed to the bottom of the building. Ren Qiong stood among them with a pipe in his mouth and a spear in his hand. Yang Ruining and Ren Qiong looked at each other, both of them were stunned at the same time. Yang Ruining's memory was not bad. He vaguely remembered that this person was a member of the Yellow Uniform Group and was one of Wang Baiqiang's more favored younger brothers. What was he doing here? A few days ago, his relationship with Wang Baiqiang had eased a little. In order to get rid of the Red Dragon Society, Yang Ruining swallowed his anger and gave Wang Baiqiang a property that was under development. Right now, it was a period of peace, so he must not cause any trouble. The Red Dragon Society really joined forces with the vanguard? Ren Qiong held his spear and squeezed out these words. Chapter 335. Yang Ruining was just here to watch the show. He had no other intentions. If there was any, it was to make the Red Dragon Society and Liu Shannan lower their guard against him. He did not want to get involved in the conflict between the Yellow Uniform Group and the Red Dragon Society. He could not wait for the two groups to fight. But before he could speak, Li Fan had already grabbed Yang Ruining's arm and laughed. Ren Qiong, you blind fool. Can't you see that I'm chatting with my big brother? Big brother, don't bother with these clowns. Let's go in and have some tea. His friendly manner made Yang Ruining want to cry. Fuck, when did our relationship become so good? Can you not mess things up? Just as he was about to speak, Li Fan spoke first and said loudly, Big brother, it's fine. Leave this to me. When did our vanguard army and the Red Dragon Society fear the Yellow Uniform Group? These clowns, do they really think they're important? Ren Qiong is just a hooligan. Other than licking Wang Baiqiang's ass, what else can he do? Big brother, you don't need to do anything. I'll take care of him for you. Yang Ruining was dumbfounded. Ren Qiong had already roared. Good, good, good. You're all wearing the same pair of pants. The Yellow Uniform Group has never been afraid of anyone. Today, I'll let you know what I'm capable of. Ren Qiong was furious. How dare he say that he only knows how to lick ass? Fuck, when he was with Wang Baiqiang, this kid was still making shit somewhere. Brothers, throw the bombs. Under Ren Qiong's order, the 30 brothers took off the shit bombs from their waists and threw them at the earth building behind Li Fan with a sense of relief. If this pair of cow dung hits the building, then Li Fan's business will not be able to continue. Yang Ruining was on the verge of tears. Fight all you want, throw shit all you want. What has it got to do with me? Big brother, don't be afraid. With us here, they won't be able to hurt you. Li Fan patted Yang Ruining's shoulder, causing Yang Ruining to grimace in pain. The shitty mines had already arrived in front of the earthen building and were about to hit it. But at this moment, Yang Kai, who was standing on the roof and doing Tai Chi, suddenly made his move. When the Taiji power circulated, Yang Kai's defense became extremely strong. The shit bombs that were falling over suddenly stopped in the air. Then, as if they were attracted, they flew towards Yang Kai. But when Yang Kai smelled it, he almost vomited. He hurriedly shook his aura and sent the shit mines back the way they came, and in front of him, a transparent Taiji symbol appeared faintly. Pa pa pa. Oh my god. It stinks. Many of the brothers that Ren Qiong had brought were injured. All of them reeked of shit, causing Ren Qiong to almost vomit. Fuck, what's the background of that person on the roof? How can he use telekinesis? Brothers, kill him. Ren Qiong's own shoes were also hit by the cow dung. These high-grade calf leather shoes were also Ren Qiong's favorite. His heart ached so much that his eyes turned black. With a roar, he brought 30 brothers with him, carrying spears and wrapped in cow dung, and pounced towards Li Fan. Li Fan did not make a move. With Guan Wenbao around, he did not need to make a move. He looked at Guan Wenbao again and whistled. The Fergana horse, Lisa, immediately broke free from the rope and ran in front of Guan Wenbao. Guan Wenbao got on the horse and picked up the two saber shafts, combining them into a bright and heavy crescent saber on the horse. He showed mercy and only swung the back of the blade, sending the three thugs flying. Ren Qiong was dumbfounded. Fuck, this was cheating. He had 30 spears, and the other side had a knight. Guan Wenbao was proficient in the Guan family's secret art. The crescent blade was like a toy in his hands, and the war horse under him was also quite intelligent. It followed Guan Wenbao and hit wherever he pointed. In the blink of an eye, the 30 thugs were all knocked to the ground. Whoosh! Guan Wenbao's blade suddenly stopped in front of Ren Qiong. Ren Qiong was so scared that he almost peed his pants. Are you going to fight or surrender? Guan Wenbao sat on the horse like a god of war and asked condescendingly. I'm fucking convinced. Ren Qiong cupped his hands. The 30 thugs had all been defeated, and he had no other moves. Li Fan, Liu Xinnan, Yang Ruining, you guys are awesome. I will never forget this revenge. Just as he was about to leave, Li Fan shouted. Old Guan, leave one of his arms. Okay. Guan Wenbao had always listened to Li Fan's word. With a flash of white light, Ren Qiong screamed as one of his arms flew into the air. My, Li Fan's place is not a place where you can come and go as you please. Li Fan said coldly, the next time you come and cause trouble, you will not just be leaving an arm behind. Ren Qiong was after all a number one character. He endured the pain and glared at Li Fan as he was carried away by two thugs. Yang Ruining also shivered. He had indeed underestimated this Li Fan. He was ruthless, sinister, and powerful enough. If he was not dealt with as soon as possible, he would become a huge problem for him in the future. Brother, then I'll be leaving first. Yang Ruining found an excuse to leave. Not long after, Wang Baiqiang received the news that Ren Qiong had lost an arm. Motherfucker, this is too much. Wang Baiqiang smashed a cup. Ren Qiong had followed him since a long time ago. He was Wang Baiqiang's favorite younger brother. As a result, one of his brothers was crippled and the other lost his arm. This was undoubtedly a slap to his face again and again. Yang Ruining, Liu Xinnan, you two bastards are really in the same boat. Wang Baiqiang felt that he had just realized that Yang Ruining's fawning was just to numb him. Next time, he might come to his doorstep without a sound. Brother, what should we do now? One of Wang Baiqiang's lackeys asked. Of course we're going to fuck them up. Wang Baiqiang was already furious. This adulterous couple has already ruined my two younger brothers. Now it's my turn to take revenge. Isn't that Li Fan Liu Xinnan's favorite? He is also Yang Ruining's younger brother. The two of them played a good trick. I can't deal with them, but can't I deal with Li Fan? He stole my territory. I'll deal with his whole family. Find a day and tie up his family for me. Yes. The lackey nodded while Wang Baiqiang sneered. Bullying me, Wang Baiqiang, I'll make you regret it for the rest of your life. As for Li Fan, he did not know that he was being targeted. With great difficulty, he settled the security company's matters and quickly returned home. He said that he would be back in 2 days, but 4 or 5 days have passed and Murong Ying still did not return home. To be honest, Murong Ying and Taizhu were not around. Li Fan was a little not used to it. But when he pushed open the door, a beautiful woman wearing a maid's outfit knelt in front of him, her hands arranged the slippers. Master, welcome home. Chapter 336. Looking at Murong Love's outfit, Li Fan almost had a nosebleed. This girl, did she learn it from Taizhu? Forget about wearing a maid outfit, why didn't she wear any clothes inside? Fuck, this is simply a crime. Anne. What's with that cat tail on her butt? As if noticing Li Fan's gaze, Murong Love said shyly. This thing is a bit thick. It's a bit uncomfortable to put it in. But to please master, this servant can endure any pain. You. Who did you learn this from? I saw some maids on TV were all requested by their master like this. Murong Love said in a serious manner, their master looks very happy. Li Fan didn't know what to say. He felt that in just a few days, Murong Love for this little girl had gone from one extreme to the other extreme. If this goes on, it's not good. Master, are you happy? Yes, happy. Li Fan also didn't know what to say. This was a bit too exciting. Fortunately, he didn't have a heart disease, otherwise he would have fainted. But if your sister comes back and sees you like this, do you think I can still live? Little girl, are you scheming against me again? Of course not. It's really not. Murong Love was frightened and quickly waved her hand. I specifically asked today. Sister will only be back for another day. She bought a ticket for tomorrow morning and will reach home around noon. At that time, I will have already changed my clothes. I will definitely not make things difficult for Master. Oh, this girl actually thought it through so thoroughly. Has she really settled down and prepared to be my servant? To be honest, Li Fan was still very suspicious. After all, Murong Love had a bad record and was full of misdeed. What was in her little head, Li Fan couldn't guess. Wasn't there a good saying, it's impossible to know a man's heart? Master, do you want to take a bath or eat first? Murong Ari had already prepared dinner and boiled bath water for Li Fan. If you need, I can eat first. If I eat you, will you suck me dry again? Master, you don't have to worry about this. Just wear the condom. Murong explained, this way, the yin-yang technique will be ineffective. As a slave, I'm ready to give everything to Master, as long as Master can forgive me. Li Fan was a little speechless. Murong was now wholeheartedly trying to please him, which made him very uncomfortable. If it wasn't for the fact that he was sleeping on a rope, this lass would have fought to warm his bed. All right, go and rest. I'm annoyed when I see you. Li Fan waved his hand and chased away Murong's love. Out of sight, out of mind. Then, I'll take my leave now. Murong Ari knelt on the floor and backed away from Li Fan's sight. Sigh, my China heart was fucked to death today. With Murong Ari out of his sight, Li Fan relaxed a lot. He sat on the sofa and untied his tie. It was a little uncomfortable to be tied down by this thing. He didn't expect a high school student like him to start a business. Although this security company wasn't big, it managed a market. He had to hurry up and train the security guards. Otherwise, if the yellow uniform group came to cause trouble, his security company wouldn't be able to help. That would be terrible. Old Guan, the descendant of the Guan family, the grandson of the second master, was now a security team leader, leading a group of young security guards for morning exercises every day. If the second master knew that his grandson was doing this, he would crawl out of his grave in anger. Sure enough, following him was a very tiring and bitter experience. Li Fan was determined to make the company better so that his brother could live a better life. As for Murong Ari, she sat in her room, feeling wronged. She was the second daughter of the Murong family. When had she ever done such things? But after doing all this, brother-in-law still doesn't appreciate it. What should she do? Did brother-in-law hate her from the bottom of his heart? For some reason, Murong Ari felt sad again. Ever since she was young, she had never cried. Now, she had a feeling that she wanted to cry. Damn it, damn it, damn it. She sat on the bed and tore a teddy bear doll beside her into pieces. In her mind, she imagined the teddy bear doll to look like Li Fan. But when she saw it in pieces, she panicked and wanted to put it back. But on second thought, it was just a doll. Murong Ari heaved a sigh of relief. What's wrong with me? Why do I feel like I'm possessed? Murong Ari felt that she was being unreasonable at this moment. Murong Ari, you are someone who wants to surpass Murong Ying. How can you be so vexed over a man's matter? Since brother-in-law doesn't care about me now, I might as well practice martial arts. She comforted herself in her heart. Then, she got off the bed with her bare feet and quietly took out a black jar from a cabinet. She opened the jar and inside, there were 5 kinds of poisonous creatures that were entangled together. Tempered gold toad, 7-step snake, soul-hooking scorpion, 3-headed gecko, and 9-winged centipede. As long as she had these 5 poisons, she could master the world's strongest 5-poison palm. Moreover, Murong Ari had slightly changed a poisonous insect according to the Book of Poison. She changed the soul-hooking scorpion to the human face scorpion. This way, the poison would be stronger and more fatal. Murong Ari had a strong confidence in her 5-poison palm. But she failed on Li Fan. Murong Ari was a little confused. Could it be that her brother-in-law had already mastered the pure yang art that allowed him to be immune to hundreds of poisons? But she heard that the pure yang art that allowed him to be immune to hundreds of poisons required him to maintain his virginity. Her brother-in-law and sister had been married for so long. Could it be that brother-in-law was still a virgin? That's impossible. Facing such a great beauty like her sister, which man would be able to control himself? But thinking that she had failed in seducing her brother-in-law, Murong Ari started to doubt Li Fan's sexual orientation. Could it be that brother-in-law? He likes men. No, it can't be. Murong Ari was puzzled. She had forgotten that her finger was bitten by the poisonous insects. Practicing the 5 poison palm was just that cruel. She had to let the poisonous insects bite her own blood vessels and cultivate the poison into her blood. If Murong Ari did not have a pure yin body, her beauty would have long been eroded by the poison. She would have become as ugly as the ice poison fairy, Shenmengjie. Just when Murong Ari was in a dilemma, a person suddenly jumped in from the open window. He was tall and had a sinister appearance. He looked like a walking corpse as he gloomily looked at Murong Ari. "Smelly girl, I've finally caught you." Chapter 337. Ma Wenchang had been suffering for the past few days. He had finally found a tycoon and thought that he could ride on his coattails. He had not expected that after a few days of being a tycoon, he would be defeated by a fledgling. That tycoon had not been able to take revenge and had fired him. Ma Wenchang was also frustrated. He could not think of the reason why he had failed so many times. Why had the book of poisons that the Yin sect had been researching for hundreds of years failed? Ma Wenchang could not understand. He had not been able to figure it out. Without financial support, Ma Wenchang could only rely on his own strength to find Murong's love. Hard work pays off. In the end, he found some clues. Following these clues, Ma Wenchang finally arrived in front of Murong's love. What annoyed him the most was that Murong Ari was still practicing the 5 poison palm with a face full of enjoyment. This 5 poison palm was the most poisonous in the world. At the beginning, the poison would enter the blood and cause the whole body to fester. But the people of the Yin sect could use a unique method to concentrate these poisons so that they would not spread throughout their body. This way, it would not affect their appearance. Therefore, although Ma Wenchang was angry, he was also surprised. This Murong did not know this secret technique, so how could she maintain her appearance after practicing the 5 poison palm? He, I understand now. Ma Wenchang suddenly became happy again. "You little girl, I'm afraid you have the legendary pure yin body. Very good, very good. I will turn you into a good human cauldron, and then absorb your medicine. This way, I will be able to increase my power by 30 years, ha ha ha." Ma Wenchang was overjoyed. This was really a gift from God. With half a cycle of power, he might be able to break through to the next level and enter the ranks of the masters. When that time came, the position of Valley Head of the Medicine Masters Valley would be his. Ma Wenchang was very excited, but the moment he entered, Murong put on a coat to cover her beautiful body. Other than her brother-in-law, no other man would be able to see her body. "Where did you come from, old thing? How dare you barge in here? Are you tired of living?" Murong looked fiercely at Ma Wenchang. She activated the 5 poison palm and her right hand became like black jade. "Little girl, your time of death has come. Why don't you obediently accept your fate and serve me well? Maybe I'll be kind enough to spare your life and let you live a few more years." Ma Wenchang chuckled. "Are you retarded?" Murong raised her right hand and revealed her 5 poison palms, but it made Ma Wenchang laugh. "Ha ha ha, your 5 poison palm has been trained to a certain degree. But compared to me, it's far inferior." As he spoke, Ma Wenchang sneered, and then he circulated his power with both hands and entered the state of the 5 poison palm. His hands were as black as ink, like the palms of an azura. The moment an expert made a move, one would know whether or not he was an expert. Seeing the other party's palm, Murong's heart also trembled with fear. "This guy is an expert from Medicine King Valley's Yin Gate. I've trained in the 5 poison palm for more than 30 years, How could I be inferior to a little doll like you? Uncle, I think we can talk things over. Murong's face immediately turned timid. My 5 poison palm skill, in front of you, is not worth mentioning. What else do you want to talk about? Ma Wenchang vigilantly looked at Murong. Right now you're the knife and I'm the meat. With your divine skill, don't tell me you're afraid of me. Murong bitterly smiled. I can see that you're very strong, and your 5 poison palm skill is far above mine. I'm a smart person, I don't want to die, so I agree to your conditions. Tell me, what do you want? At least you're sensible. Only then did Ma Wenchang feel relieved. Obediently return the poison manual and follow me. Every day I'll feed you some poison. Don't worry, although it's a little painful, it won't take your life. After a year, you'll be refined into a good furnace. After we're done, I'll absorb the medicinal properties in your body and increase my power by 30 years. Poison. I wonder what kind of poison it is. Murong blinked her eyes and asked, if it's too painful, I need to be mentally prepared in advance. Hehe, this recipe is also written in the poison manual, I guess you haven't seen it yet. Just studying this 5 poison palm will take you a while. Ma Wenchang was very proud of himself, he was a true expert in poison manuals. This little girl, don't even think of doing a somersault in front of me. Okay, come with me obediently. Ian, then wait for me, I'll go get the poison manual. As Murong spoke, she confidently walked behind Ma Wenchang and pulled open a drawer beside him. Ma Wenchang's gaze fell on the poison manual inside. It was indeed a genuine poison manual, a treasure of the Yin sect. But the moment his gaze fell on the poison manual, Murong suddenly made her move. Although Ma Wenchang noticed Murong's action, he didn't put her in his eyes. This little girl's 5 poison palm was not at its peak, it couldn't hurt him at all. However, Ma Wenchang did not expect that Murong Ari's palm was not black at all. Instead, it was as white as jade. She placed it on his lower abdomen just like that. Pu. Ma Wenchang spat out a mouthful of blood, his face turned pale, and a thin layer of frost condensed on his skin. His movements also became somewhat sluggish. Ice. Ice. Palm. Ma Wenchang's eyes were filled with shock and anger. He stabilized his body and stared at Murong in front of him. I'm sorry, uncle. Murong smiled. Her appearance was completely different from before, as if the previous her was just an illusion. I don't like to associate with uncles the most. Especially a stinky old man like you who studies the poison manual every day. You actually want to have sex with this lady. Pay, I'll reward you with a cold ice palm to wake you up. A mere cold ice palm. Do you think it can cure me? Unexpectedly, Ma Wenchang took a deep breath and his body slowly returned to its original color. Obviously, he suppressed the cold poison of the cold ice palm. Only now did Murong feel that something was wrong. It seemed that things were a bit bad. Little girl, this is your own choice. Ma Wenchang sneered, there was a road to heaven but you didn't take it. There was no door to hell but you insisted on barging in. With that, Ma Wenchang stretched out his right hand and grabbed Murong. His true qi was strong and his poison attack was high. Murong felt that she was doomed. She subconsciously shouted, "Brother-in-law, save me," but after shouting, she felt even more despair. She had lied to her brother-in-law countless times. Brother-in-law definitely wouldn't believe her. This time, she really couldn't escape this calamity. Chapter 338. Just as Murong was about to lose hope, the door to her room was suddenly kicked open. The door flew up and spun in front of Ma Wenchang. Ma Wenchang waved his hand and smashed the door with his palm. Who dares to meddle in my business? Ma Wenchang cursed, but as Li Fan walked in, his legs turned to jelly and he almost fell to the ground. Damn it, why is it him? This guy was the one who gave Ma Wenchang the most headaches. How could he meet him here? Oh, I was wondering who broke into my house in the middle of the night. So it's you. Li Fan put his hands behind his back and slowly put down his right foot. He looked at Ma Wenchang with a smile. Brother-in-law, help. In front of outsiders, Murong liked to call Li Fan brother-in-law. This was also an agreement between the two of them. The moment Murong saw Li Fan appear, She was so happy that she almost cried. So, brother-in-law did not give up on her, she still cared about her. Don't worry, with me here, he won't dare to be arrogant. Li Fan smiled confidently, but Ma Wenchang could not help but curse. Li Fan, don't be too arrogant. I have also trained my inner force for decades. The last time was just a mistake. Alright, then let's spar. Li Fan crooked his finger at Ma Wenchang. Let's see if you have made any progress these 2 days. I am a master, how can I compete with a young man like you? Ma Wenchang coughed dryly. I am not here today to fight with you, but to take back what I lost. You came to my house to take back what you lost. Li Fan wanted to laugh. I am here to take back our sect's poison manual. Ma Wenchang did not know why he would use such a lowly status to talk to a high school student. To him, this was simply impossible. Even in the Valley of the Medicine Masters, when an elder of the Yin Gate spoke to his subordinates, he would always look down on them. Ma Wenchang's attitude towards Yang Ruining was the same. In Ma Wenchang's eyes, he was always high and mighty, but when he saw Li Fan, Ma Wenchang really lost his temper. This man specialized in restraining his poison techniques. It was too disadvantageous for him to fight with him. Although Ma Wenchang wanted to save face, he was also a rational person. Where there is life, there is hope. This girl stole our poison manual, I must get it back. Oh, really? Li Fan glanced at Murong Ari. Murong Ari pointed to the cabinet. It's over there. Just let him take it. This won't do. However, Ma Wenchang said, he has already learned our moves, so he must be severely punished. At the very least, we have to cripple her martial arts. Murong desperately shook her head, obviously not wanting to be crippled. For a martial artist, Kung Fu was his second life. Sometimes, losing one's Kung Fu was worse than death. Not to mention Murong Ari, even Li Fan himself did not want to lose his Kung Fu. When he was not practicing, everything was fine. But now that he was practicing Kung Fu, to Li Fan, everything was different. He already had one foot in a new world. Going back to the past was impossible. This request, forgive me, but I cannot agree. Li Fan stood there with his hands behind his back. If it was someone else, I wouldn't care. But the person you want to cripple is my sister-in-law. I'm really sorry, I am a person who is a bit protective. The poison manual is right there. If you want it, take it. If you don't want it, I won't force you. But if you harm a single hair on my sister-in-law's head, I will let you walk out of here. Li Fan's words were so unyielding that it made Ma Wenchang clench his teeth. These words were usually said by him. Today, someone actually said it in front of him. Damn it, am I still Ma Wenchang? How could I be so submissive? Damn it. No matter what, I must kill this stinky brat. But not now, the time is not right yet. What a pity for such a good cauldron. If I can absorb her, I can certainly become the strongest person in the world. I will count to 10. Obediently leave my house. Otherwise, you can leave something behind before you leave. After Li Fan said this, Ma Wenchang looked at Murong Ari with some reluctance. In the end, he could only pick up the poison scripture next to him, turn around, and jump out of the window. Next time, close the window at home. Li Fan waved his hand and closed the window. Recently the world is not peaceful. You did not do anything good. Only by closing the window can you protect your safety. Master. Even if it's a window, it can't stop an expert like Ma Wenchang. What you said seems to make some sense. Li Fan touched his chin. While Murong Ari wanted to ridicule, but she endured it. No matter what, brother-in-law still came to save her. Master. Why did you come to save me? Murong Ari could not help but ask this question. Because you asked for help. Li Fan very simply said, otherwise, what else could it be? Also, that Ma Wenchang, the true chi on his body is too strong. He did not know how to conceal it. But, doesn't Master hate me? If you can borrow that man's hand to kill me, wouldn't that be better? Although you are notorious, it is not to the point of killing you. Li Fan looked at Murong Ari. You are still young. As long as you are willing to change, I can still forgive you. Really, Master? Then I am willing to change. Murong Ari repeatedly nodded as if she was obedient to Li Fan. Then first learn to be a good child. Li Fan glared at Murong Ari. Pull up your collar. What kind of appearance is it? Hee, master, do I look good? Murong Ari giggled and asked. Not good. There is not even a cleavage. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Murong Ari wanted to vomit blood. All right, I will keep watch tonight. Ma Wenchang will definitely not be able to hurt you. Li Fan said, you sleep early. I want to go back and rest. Also, this 5 poison palm, don't practice it. It will harm others and yourself. With that, Li Fan turned around and left Murong Ari's room. If he stayed, he did not know how Murong Ari would hook up with him. After all, he is a normal man. It is better to not see it. After Li Fan left, Murong Ari secretly took out a copy of Poison Book from under her pillow. Humph, the old man from the Yin sect wants to fight with me. He is still far from it. Murong Ari said and opened the page about raising a cauldron. Sure enough, it recorded the matter about the pure Yin body. It seems like to them, I am a treasure. Humph, I do not want to be the treasure of the Yin sect. If I want to be, I will be brother-in-law's treasure. Brother-in-law, just you wait. I will make you the strongest in the world. Chapter 339. Murong Ying came back the next day, but Murong Ari didn't seem to want to leave and said that she wanted to stay with her sister. In Murong Ari's words, she missed her sister too much, so she wanted to stay with her sister for a while. Murong Ying seemed to love her sister very much. She didn't expect her sister to have other thoughts, so she agreed. Then you can have dinner by yourselves tonight. I have something to do, so I can't accompany you. Li Fan received a text message, so he had to go out. It's rare for us to get together. Can't you stay for a while? Murong Ying sat opposite Li Fan. She was wearing a dark green cheongsam today, which looked a little sexy. To be honest, Li Fan didn't want to leave, but he couldn't give up his career. Moreover, this matter was very important, and he couldn't rely on Huang Lei and the others to solve it. Sister, brother-in-law must have something important to do. Unexpectedly, Murong Ari said something good for Li Fan. We can have breakfast together tomorrow. Xiao Ari, you are becoming more and more sensible. Murong Ying looked at her sister with relief, and then said to Li Fan, you should learn from Xiao Ari. Li Fan was speechless. He put down his chopsticks and put away his phone. My friend is coming to pick me up. Let's talk later. With that, Li Fan went out. A black Honda Odyssey van was parked in front of the door, quietly waiting for Li Fan. Li Fan opened the door and got into the van. Other than the driver, there was only one other person in the van. It was Fan's right-hand man, Xiao Dong. Xiao Dong was wearing a black sportswear and looked very low-key. He was playing with the phone in his hand. After Li Fan came up, Xiao Dong was slightly impatient. You are late. You guys came too suddenly, okay? Li Fan frowned. Didn't I say that we wouldn't meet directly? Why did he suddenly come here? This is the doorstep of my house. This matter is very important. It's an emergency. Xiao Dong chewed his gum and explained, someone in the Red Dragon Society is plotting a rebellion and is preparing to attack Missy. Our big brother said that as long as you can quell this rebellion, together with the 1 million from last time, a total of 2.5 million will be transferred to your account. If you don't like virtual currency, real money is fine too. Rebellion? A rebellion against Liu Xinnan? This was more or less dangerous for Liu Xinnan. However, was the conflict within the gang something that he could solve by himself? A big question mark was drawn in Li Fan's mind. But 2.5 million. This was definitely a big temptation for him. Oh right. Xiao Dong was playing with his phone and said without lifting his head, our big brother said that it was inconvenient for him to attend your opening ceremony. He is very sorry. In a few days, he will ask me to send you a pai xiu. Oh, okay. These are all small matters. Li Fan did not care about a pai xiu. He was more concerned about the 2.5 million. Speaking of which, this big brother of yours is a bit untrustworthy. Li Fan could not help but ask, this 1 million owes me a lot of time. Do you think 1 million is a small amount of money? Xiao Dong stared at Li Fan. My big brother needs time to raise this amount of money. Why are you so anxious? My big brother is a man of his words. Do you think he will owe you this amount of money? Do things with money. This is our rule. You can't even take out 1 million now. I don't have the confidence to do a 2.5 million deal. Li Fan sneered. You have never seen money before. Xiao Dong curled his lips in disdain. My big brother is doing big business. Do you think he is poor like you? Let me tell you, this 2.5 million is now in my account. Once you finish your task, I will transfer the money to your account. Alipay or WeChat will do. Big brother, Alipay can only transfer 100,000 renminbi a month, right? Li Fan asked. Then transfer it using Alipay. Why are there so many things? Anyway, I can't be short of your money. Fine. Money is fine. Li Fan came out to do business and does not want to offend these people. Anyway, do things with money. This was his rule. Anyway, after tonight's task, we will not have any contact in the future. Xiao Dong said, tonight's task will be the last one. Deal. Both parties were only working together for a short period of time. Li Fan did not want to have any contact with them. Li Fan did not want to do anything related to the underworld. He only treated this as a platform, just a springboard. Tell me about the task. Li Fan decided to go straight to the point. Don't ask too much. You will know when you get there. Xiao Dong did not say much and kept mysterious. If you don't tell me, I will quit. Li Fan stretched out his hand and pressed the door. Just transfer 1 million renminbi to my account. Fine, fine, fine. I will tell you. Xiao Dong frowned and said, we got a secret report that the leader of Spring Wind Tang, Yang Xiu, is preparing a banquet in Defu restaurant to rebel and become Our Lady. At that time, he will take over the Red Dragon Society. You mean, you want me to go in and kill him? Do you dare to kill him? Xiao Dong could not help but sneer. I won't kill him, but I can cripple him. Li Fan had already thought of a countermeasure, break his legs. I am afraid he will not want to be the gang leader anymore. Xiao Dong looked at Li Fan's smiling face and his heart turned cold. This man, should he say he is simple, or should he say he is scary? When he said he will break someone's legs, he can still smile so happily. Even I don't have this kind of temperament. In short, you will be in charge of the inside. I am only responsible for sending you to the place. Xiao Dong said, as for the money, as long as the task is completed, I will immediately send it to your account. Okay, I got it. Li Fan did not have time to discuss with Xiao Xian and the others. He will think about it after he got the money. The car slowly stopped in front of a restaurant. This restaurant should be very lively usually, but today it was deserted as if it was booked by someone. Li Fan got off the car, pushed open the door of the restaurant and walked in. The clerk at the door stopped Li Fan. Sir, I am sorry, we do not accept guests today. I am Yang Xiu's friend. Li Fan smiled, he asked me to come here to find him. Oh, please go to the second floor. The clerk guided Li Fan, and everything went smoothly. Li Fan confidently went to the second floor. This second floor was even more deserted. Only a private room's door was open. A man was sitting inside, his back was facing the door and his hand was holding a wine glass. Mr. Yang. Li Fan walked in and said slowly, a friend asked me to talk to you. Chapter 340. However, the other party ignored him, and Li Fan became vigilant. He felt that something was wrong. If it was a conspiracy, why was the door open? Why was he alone? Li Fan suddenly understood something. Oh no, isn't this Lin Chong who accidentally entered the White Tiger Hall? Li Fan almost subconsciously turned around and was about to leave. But at this time, a group of policemen had rushed in downstairs and blocked Li Fan. Arrest him. Don't move. Raise your hands. 3 policemen came forward. Li Fan didn't dare to be negligent, so he raised his hands. I'm innocent. Li Fan panicked for a moment, but he quickly calmed down. I didn't kill anyone. It was a setup. Fu Fan, that son of a bitch, Killed the donkey when it was no longer of use. He framed me. If I turn around and run now, I'm afraid that the case will be confirmed. I can only wait for Liu Xinnan to hear about this and rely on her to bail me out. This was what Li Fan thought of in an instant. So, he raised his hands and knelt on the ground according to the police's request. He waited for a policeman to come forward, press him to the ground, and handcuff him. I was framed. Li Fan was pressed to the ground, but he still said in a clear voice, "Please investigate this thoroughly. We only wronged a good person, but we won't let a bad person go." The policeman looked righteous. These policemen cordoned off the scene, then locked Li Fan in a police car, and sent him to the police station. In the police car, the policemen didn't say a word. Until they arrived at the police station, they began to interrogate Li Fan. 2 policemen, one old and one young, sat opposite Li Fan. The young policeman seemed to be full of vigor. He pulled up the light and shone it on Li Fan's face. The dazzling light was a little scorching, and Li Fan wanted to avoid it. "Li Fan, you're now listed as an important suspect in the November 2nd murder case. There's only one way in front of you. Confess and you'll be lenient. Resist and you'll be severely punished. Uncle Policeman, what era is it? Why are you still playing this game?" Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. "You've watched too many dramas. Don't be glib. Tell me the truth." The young policeman was a little impatient, but the old policeman next to him patted him on the shoulder and then moved the light away from Li Fan's face. "Smoke." The old policeman took out a small panda and wanted to hand it to Li Fan, but Li Fan refused. "Sorry, I don't smoke." "Good habit." The old policeman nodded and lit it for himself. Then, he slowly said, "Little brother, I have indeed seen a lot of people like you. It's not worth it to take the risk for a little money. Before the case is finalized, everything you've said is just a baseless speculation." Li Fan appeared very calm at this moment. He knew that only calmness could save him now. "I just arrived there at the wrong time, and then I was caught by you. So, all of this is a frame-up. I'm innocent. You're still denying it. I want to see if you won't repent until you hit the wall." The young policeman's temper flared up again, and the old policeman suppressed him again. "Don't worry, take your time." His eyes fell on Li Fan. He felt that this young man in front of him was young, but he was not flustered. He was either an innocent person who had been framed, or he was a vicious criminal through and through. Either way, it showed that he was not ordinary. This young man was a bit difficult to deal with. "Then let me ask you, where were you between 7:15 and 8:15 in the evening?" "In a van," Li Fan said. "What van? What model? What color? What license plate?" the young policeman asked. "A black van, the license plate is Honda." "I'm not sure about the model." Li Fan recalled, "I forgot the license plate number. I didn't pay attention to it at all." "Where did you leave from?" "From home, the old city. It only takes 10 minutes to get from the old city to the Defu restaurant. There was no traffic at that time." "Why did you sit for an hour?" "You have to ask the driver." "Then what were you doing in the Defu restaurant?" Li Fan was slightly stunned. His original purpose, of course, couldn't be revealed. He couldn't tell these 2 policemen that he was hired by Fu Fan to do the dirty work, could he? If any of the dirty work he had done was exposed, it would be enough to put him in jail. Li Fan felt that this time he had been cheated so badly that he almost fell into a dead end. If he confessed, he would be dead. If he didn't confess, he would also be dead. No matter what, he couldn't confess now. "Someone asked me to go there to get something." Li Fan thought for a moment and said, "After I went up, I found that the person was already dead. And you guys also followed. It's really a coincidence, don't you think? If you don't want people to know, don't do it." The young policeman scolded, "You've done something bad and you still want people to not know." "You're right. Anyway, I didn't kill him. I have no grudge against him, so why would I kill him?" Li Fan said. "We will find out your motive for killing." The young policeman continued to stare at Li Fan. "Also, we've got your information." The old policeman looked at the computer screen with a slightly deep look. "Young man, you're quite good. At such a young age, you already have 2 companies. The old policeman said with a smile, "One is a billiard hall, and the other is a security company. It seems that your family isn't that well off, but recently your parents have money to travel abroad. Young man, I'm curious, where did you get all this money?" "The money my parents used to go abroad was given by my fiancé. The money I earned from my own business." Li Fan had nothing to hide. "If you can investigate this thoroughly, you should know the identity of my fiancé. We found out that your fiancé is from the Murong Consortium." The young policeman said bluntly, "But no matter how strong your background is, this is the police station. If you've committed a crime, you must be punished. Before the law, everyone is equal. Of course, I have to clap my hands in praise." Li Fan showed the handcuffs on his wrists. "Unfortunately, it's not convenient for me to clap now." "Don't play tricks. You continue to explain your case." "I don't have any case to explain. I was just called there." Li Fan said very flatly, "Whether you believe it or not, it's the truth. I'm innocent. I hope you can investigate it clearly." "We will definitely investigate it clearly." The old policeman looked at Li Fan a few more times and slowly said, "I hope you also think about it. If you have a case, it's good for you to confess as soon as possible." "Thank you very much," Li Fan said to the old policeman with a smile. The two policemen began to have a headache. Chapter 341. Li Fan didn't want to talk about the case, so he could only lock him up in the detention center. The domestic prison environment may have improved, but the detention center's environment was still not good. The detention center's cell only had a small window, and outside the window was a corridor, so the ventilation was very poor. The entire cell's environment was very humid. Li Fan felt that if he stayed in this place for a long time, his body would grow mold. In addition to Li Fan, there were a few other prisoners in the cell. They were all lazily lying on their respective beds. The one on duty was a middle-aged man, who was dressed quite cleanly. He squinted his eyes and looked at the silent Li Fan who was sitting beside him. "Brother, why did you come in?" The name on duty was Sundashing. Because he helped his brother to kill someone, because the case was complicated, it couldn't be concluded, so he was temporarily thrown into the detention center. Firstly, he had a strong background, and secondly, he performed well in the detention center, so he was put on duty. Sundashing couldn't go out, so he sat in the detention center every day. When he had nothing to do, he liked to inquire about the criminal's case. He saw that Li Fan was a little young and quite gentle, so he began to speculate about Li Fan's criminal record. "Big brother, I've been wrongly accused by others." Li Fan said, "I didn't do anything bad." "Hey, you can't fool me." Sundashing had been in the underworld for so many years. He didn't dare to say anything else, but his eyes were sharp. "Kid, you have a little smell of blood on you." Sundashing smiled and lowered his voice. "Kid, you've killed someone before, right?" Li Fan's heart trembled, but on the surface, he didn't show it. "Brother, you really know how to joke. I'm just a high school student. I'm honest. How would I dare to kill someone? It's okay if you don't admit it. Anyway, brother's eyes won't lie." Sundashing didn't know why he had this feeling, but he felt that he shouldn't provoke this kid. "Da Zhuang, get up." He shouted towards the opposite bunk, and a fat man lying on the bed jumped in fright. What's wrong, brother? Go to the back and sleep. This place is for little brother to lie down." "Why, brother?" Fatty almost cried. The further he went, the more humid the bed became. It was especially uncomfortable to sleep on. The berth next to his was the best, but if you wanted to sleep here, you had to get the permission of the berth next to him. He had secretly stuffed a lot of money into his shift to get this position. "I haven't even had a good night's sleep, and I'm already being chased away? Damn it, I told you to sleep in the back, so sleep in the back." Why did he have so much to say? "This little brother will go out in a few days. Will it kill you to suffer for 2 days?" Oh, with a bitter look on his face, Fatty rolled up his bedding and obediently went to sleep in the bunk at the back. The surrounding prisoners were a little surprised. What was wrong with Sundashing today? Why was he so nice to a brat who had just arrived? "Thank you, brother. When I get out, I will definitely repay you." Li Fan cupped his hands towards Sun Disheng. There's no need to be so polite. I think you're quite lucky. Just lie down. Sun Disheng looked at Li Fan a few more times before lying on the bed with his eyes closed. As for Li Fan, he sat cross-legged on the bed, complained with both hands, and began to silently practice. Since he was already here, he might as well make the best of it. He could not fall behind. Fuck, Sun Disheng squinted his eyes. Seeing Li Fan meditating, he jumped in fright. Little brother, don't tell me you're training wheels. Of course not. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Why would I train in that thing? I'm just meditating in Zen. Oh. You scared me. Sun Disheng patted his chest. Don't ever touch things like wheels. It's too fucking scary. Don't worry. I won't touch evil sects. Li Fan thought that this brother really thought too much. Although he was not really meditating in Zen, it was not far from it. While circulating his internal energy, Li Fan was also silently chanting the Heart Sutra, searching for the true meaning of Zen. Last time, he comprehended a little bit of Zen and created the Buddha-faced ape. However, that was only the tip of the iceberg of Buddhism. The Dharma of Buddhism was boundless. He still needed to ponder and comprehend more. Currently trapped in prison, Li Fan could not do anything else. He could only rely on these two things to pass the time. Sun Disheng didn't want to provoke this seemingly unusual little brother. For Sun Disheng, it was better to have less trouble than less trouble. As for this youth, he had already done him a favor. Whether he accepted it or not, that was his own business. Although this youth had a murderous aura, his gaze was very upright. Sun Disheng felt that he could not see through this kind of person. This young man's future was either going to be famous, or he was going to be penniless. Regardless of whether he was training wheels or not, he still felt a little strange. As long as he did not provoke him, it was fine. Sun Disheng lay on the bed, took out a book from under the bed, and started reading. The prison guard just happened to pass by the door. Seeing Sun Disheng reading a book with a serious expression, he could not help but tease him. You're studying here again? Hehe, there's no end to learning. Sun Disheng grinned. Why don't you read something serious? You're always reading porn. The prison guard used a stick to knock on the railing. Go back and read some serious books. Read the 4 great classical novels and whatnot. Yes. The prison guard is right. Sun Disheng nodded his head. In the detention center, reading online novels was the best way to pass the time. Since there was nothing else to do, reading something could be considered as enriching himself. Sun Disheng used reading to pass the time. Very soon, night came quietly. This detention center, which usually did not see a single person in a few days, actually squeezed another prisoner in. This prisoner was bald and had a scar on his eye. Obviously, he was not a good person. After he was pushed in, he sat at the side, not making a sound, as if he was a stone. But Sun Disheng's eyes were sharp. This person also had a murderous aura. He was definitely a criminal. Especially when he squatted down, the muscles on his body could be seen through his clothes. It was obvious that he often trained to keep his body in the strongest state. This kind of guy was definitely not an ordinary hoodlum. Sun Disheng remembered a person beside his big brother. He was a retired mercenary from the battlefield, and he seemed to give off the same feeling. Li Fan still did not open his eyes. He continued to circulate his energy, as if everything around him had nothing to do with him. The bald guy squatted for a long time, but his eyes kept looking left and right, as if he was looking at his surroundings. Sun Disheng finally noticed that this guy was holding a toothbrush in his hand. He kept rubbing it on the ground, causing the tip of the plastic toothbrush to appear. Sun Disheng was also an experienced person, so he immediately understood. This guy was here for the person. Chapter 342. Sun Disheng did not say anything. He could not afford to provoke this matter. Sun Disheng lay on the bed and pretended to sleep. But he squinted his eyes and observed the murderous baldy. This baldy was very patient. He continued to rub his toothbrush and forge his own sharp weapon. Sun Disheng muttered in his heart. Who is this baldy coming for? Sun Disheng more or less understood everyone in this prison. It seemed that no one had provoked someone that they should not provoke. But thinking about it, there was really one. That was the little brother that just arrived. What did this little brother do to provoke this guy that he should not provoke? Hope that he is a good person and the heavens help him. After the prison officer walked far away, this baldy finally moved. He slowly stood up and hid his toothbrush in his sleeve. He slowly walked toward Li Fan. Sun Disheng's heart tightened. Sure enough, he was going for the new little brother. This baldy seemed to have regarded Li Fan as his prey. He walked silently and arrived behind Li Fan. He raised his palm and fiercely poked the back of Li Fan's head. If this poke landed, Li Fan would definitely die. But at this moment, Li Fan suddenly moved. Although his eyes were closed, it was as if he had opened a third eye at the back of his head. He directly raised his hand and grabbed this baldy's wrist. Looks like even if I go to hell, there will still be some people chasing me. Li Fan's eyes still did not open. His mouth hung a faint smile. I really don't know if I should be happy or sad. Kid, go die. The baldy's other hand grabbed Li Fan's wrist. He wanted to break Li Fan's hand. But what kind of strength did Li Fan have? Although he was trapped in prison, his martial arts did not fall behind. His arm was like iron. The baldy's attempt to break it did not move at all. Nameless scoundrel, lie down. Li Fan's arm shook. He forcefully pulled this baldy's huge body and threw him over his head. He directly threw him to the ground in front of him. Bang! The baldy fell flat on his face, but he used his hands to support himself on the ground, flipped over, and got up again. He glared at Li Fan. Damn the employer, why didn't he tell him that this kid was so powerful? Although he had gone through several life-and-death situations on the battlefield in Africa, he had gained a lot of experience. However, the kid in front of him was obviously not on the same level as him. He seemed to have heard that in his hometown, Huaxia, there was such a group of powerful masters called martial fighters. The top experts among them were called wuxia. In this prison, without any weapons, it would be difficult for him to fight against a wuxia. Tell me, who sent you here? Li Fan was not flustered. He just sat there cross-legged and asked the kneeling baldy. The bald man was unwilling to give up. He held the toothbrush in his hand and charged at Li Fan again. However, as soon as he arrived in front of Li Fan simply raised his palm and slapped the bald man's face. The bald man felt the danger and subconsciously stopped his footsteps. A strong wind blew the bald man's mouth and eyes crooked. At the same time, he was shocked. With just the wind from his palm, he scared me off. This young man. I am not his opponent. Your employer sent you into the fire pit, and you still want to keep his secret? Li Fan asked again. The bald man clenched his teeth, took 2 steps back, and sat on Sun Disheng's bed, scaring Sun Disheng so much that he almost jumped up. Fuck, I can't afford to offend these 2 big brothers. I hope they don't implicate me. The person who hired me is called Fu Fan. The bald man said, he bought you, so you must die. But you can't kill me. Li Fan looked at the bald man. Why did Fu Fan send you here? My nickname is Killing Machine. The bald man was very unwilling. If we were outside, with enough equipment, I would definitely be able to kill you. That's hard to say. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, but Fu Fan did make a mistake by looking for you. He has made this mistake several times. This is not under my control. Anyway, I am already a death row prisoner. I only wanted to earn some money for my family before I leave. Now, it doesn't seem very likely. The bald man bitterly smiled. In vain, I escaped from death several times on the battlefield. In the end, I didn't expect that when I came back to kill someone, I would fall into the hands of the mainland's police. Forget it, I am begging on the edge of a knife. Today is probably the end. Brothers, wait for me, I'm coming. With that, this brother twisted his head with both of his hands. His eyeballs almost popped out as he forcefully twisted his head. Crack. This big brother actually broke his own head. Neat and tidy, without any hesitation. Li Fan was shocked. Sun Disheng was also scared to the point of peeing. He had seen all kinds of people, but this was the first time he saw someone who could break his own head. This bald man seemed to have lost all hope in life and ended his own life in prison. Li Fan jumped off the bed and walked to Sun Desheng's side. He reached out his hand to check the bald man's breath. He was indeed dead. Little brother. Is he really dead? Yes, he's completely dead. Li Fan nodded. This person is really ruthless. If I didn't know some self-defense kung fu, the one lying here would be me. Sun Desheng secretly rolled his eyes and thought to himself, you call that a bit of self-defense? Not sleeping in the middle of the night, what are you doing? The warden walked over and saw that someone was not sleeping, so he immediately scolded. Warden, he killed this person. A prisoner suddenly stood up and testified against Li Fan. Li Fan suddenly understood. Damn, what a deep trap. The warden was shocked and called for a few policemen. When they came in to take a look, this person was really dead. His neck was forcefully broken by someone. What a ruthless method. The young policeman was among them. He once again handcuffed Li Fan. You're so young, but you're so vicious. This time, you're caught red-handed. Let's see how you're going to deny it. Li Fan was completely convinced. Fu Fan, I have really underestimated you. 3 rings, you're really cunning. Li Fan secretly clenched his fist. The young policeman scolded. Behave yourself. Do you still want to assault the police? In China, there's no such thing as assaulting the police. There's only disturbing public security. Li Fan glanced at the young policeman. I've said it before. You've watched too many dramas. Less nonsense. You're still so arrogant after killing someone. There are so many surveillance cameras here. He should be very clear who killed him. There's maintenance in the computer room today. The cameras are all disabled. The warden quickly reported. Li Fan muttered in his heart. This is definitely not a coincidence. Seems like Fu Fan has some spies in prison. When I release him, if I can't kill Fu Fan, my surname is not Li. Take him away. Lock him up alone. Chapter 343. In a small dark room, Li Fan did not know how long he had been locked up. Here, it seemed that he had lost the concept of time. Li Fan could only silently circulate his internal force to give him something to do. For Li Fan, it was like he had entered another world. If he was not allowed to practice, he might go crazy. But during this time, Li Fan felt that his Buddhist studies had made progress. In this place, meditating on Buddhism seemed to be able to save Li Fan's soul. This place was very narrow. Li Fan could not even sit down. It felt like torture. He could only stand there with his hands clasped together, maintaining the ape-faced Buddha state. Normally, Li Fan would not be able to maintain this super state for too long. After all, this state would consume a lot of internal force and spiritual force. But in this place, Li Fan could wholeheartedly calm his heart and immerse himself in cultivation. Although this place was a bit unbearable, it was very safe. Therefore, Li Fan could not worry about anything else. For the first time, he had reached a state of mind and soul. Li Fan entered the inner vision and watched the operation of his dantian. Soon, he entered the world of his spiritual platform from the inner vision. He felt that he was surrounded by a vast sea, and a golden Buddha was sitting among the sea clouds, shining brightly. Li Fan clasped his hands together and sat opposite the giant Buddha, as if he was meditating on Buddhism. He did not know how long he had been meditating. When the young policeman and a disciplinary officer came to the front of the small dark room, he was still a little worried. 3 days without food and water, can he still hold on? It seems that his mental state is quite good, but he doesn't pay attention to anyone. The disciplinary officer said, he doesn't eat anything. Even if he is made of iron, he certainly can't go on like this. Could it be that he wants to go on a hunger strike? Open the door. The young policeman told the disciplinary officer to open the door of the small dark room. The young policeman thought that he would see a thin teenager who was on the verge of death. Unexpectedly, when the door opened, the teenager inside was still full of spirit and opened his eyes. That pair of eyes seemed to carry a golden light, instantly causing the young policeman to become sluggish. The disciplinary officer at the side was also stunned. He looked at Li Fan's gaze, and in the blink of an eye, there seemed to be a sense of awe. But the young policeman came to his senses and shouted, "Li Fan, come out, someone wants to see you. Are there any guests?" Li Fan spoke with confidence. It was hard to tell that he hadn't eaten or drunk anything for a few days, but he seemed to be more energetic than him. "Then I'll have to trouble the two of you to bring me there." Li Fan spoke politely, making the young policeman feel as if he was the owner here, not a suspect. "Please, please." No matter how aggressive the young policeman was, at this moment, his attitude became respectful for some reason. "Am I bewitched?" The young policeman didn't quite understand. He shook his head and together with the disciplinary officer, sent Li Fan to a reception room. A man in a suit was already sitting there, looking at Li Fan with a strange smile on his mouth. "Friend, you look very familiar." After Li Fan sat down, the two policemen went out but stood guard at the door. "Of course, you look familiar. We met in the hospital before." When the man in front of him said so, Li Fan immediately understood. "Oh, you're that doctor. But why did the doctor come to see me?" Li Fan was slightly puzzled. "Sorry, I'm also a part-time lawyer," the man said and handed over a gold-stamped business card. Li Fan looked at it, and sure enough, it wrote, "Professional litigation, loans, debt collection, medical operation, many services. Business manager, Ling Tian." Li Fan felt a black line coming out of his forehead. "I have a lot of part-time jobs, sorry." Ling Tian said with a smile, "Right now, I'm in charge of helping you with your lawsuit. Just call me Lawyer Ling who hired you for me." Li Fan was wondering who hired such an unreliable lawyer for him. With so many part-time jobs, no matter how he looked at it, he looked like a hoodlum. "No one hired me. I got the news myself and came looking for you." Ling Tian organized some documents in his hand. "In this aspect, I still have some information channels. There's no free lunch in this world." Li Fan's wrists were handcuffed. He just sat there, coldly looking at Ling Tian, who came to his door, not knowing what he wanted to do. "Indeed, there isn't." Ling Tian nodded. "This is an investment. I usually like to do some venture capital. This is a hobby, a pure hobby." "Investment." Li Fan felt that this Ling Tian was getting more and more unfathomable. "Yes, you're the person I want to invest in." Ling Tian nodded. "From the first time I saw you, I felt that you weren't an ordinary person. So I did some research on you and roughly know what you're doing now. Li Fan, this time you were cheated by Fu Fan and thrown into prison. If there's no one to protect you, it'll be really hard for you to get out. And now Liu Xinnan can't even protect herself, and your fiancé can't interfere in the political field. Only I can protect you and walk out of here confidently." Ling Tian's eyes flashed with confidence. "You seem to know me very well." Li Fan's eyes became even colder. "I said before, I want to invest in you. I'm a person who will definitely have a more comprehensive understanding of the assets I want to invest in. Li Fan, you can decide for yourself. The current me can help you." "Alright, then tell me, why are you investing in me?" Li Fan asked. "Of course it's to benefit from you." Ling Tian said without hesitation, "No matter what you're doing, I want to invest in it. In the future, I want 10% of the dividends. How about it? I'm not a greedy person, right? How are you so sure that you can get me out and make money from me?" "I'm quite confident in venture capital." Ling Tian maintained his superhuman confidence. "Moreover, you need a person like me by your side. I have a lawyer's license and am very professional. I can be your legal consultant." Ling Tian's words moved Li Fan. This person indeed seemed to have many talents, and if he could really get him out, it would prove that he was a talent. In the early days of his own business, he naturally thirsted for talents. "How many days do I have to wait?" 3 days. Ling Tian stretched out 3 fingers. "As long as 3 days, I'll help you settle everything." "Okay, then I'll give you 3 days." Li Fan nodded. 3 days later, "I want to leave this damn place." "Don't worry, leave it to me." Chapter 344. 3 days later, Li Fan practiced in this small dark room for another 3 days. For him, these 3 days, he had benefited a lot. He felt that his understanding of the ape-face Buddha had improved a little. 3 days later, the young policeman came again. This time, he seemed to be a little unwilling. Li Fan, you can go. Can I go now? Li Fan seemed to deliberately annoy the policeman. I'm a little reluctant to leave such a quiet place. If you don't want to go, you can stay. The young policeman gritted his teeth. Li Fan laughed. Forget it. There is no good food or drink here. It's not my cup of tea. Don't be complacent for too long. I will definitely find evidence of your murder. Then I'll have to trouble you. Li Fan still very politely expressed his gratitude to the young policeman. With a policeman like you, those bad guys will be frightened. The young policeman took Li Fan's words as sarcasm. No matter how unwilling he was, Li Fan was still sent outside. When he walked outside, the sunlight that hit his face made Li Fan feel a little dazzling. It was the first time that he felt that sunlight was so precious. And Ling Tian was standing at the gate, waiting for him. This Ling Tian was still wearing a black suit, driving an inconspicuous Volkswagen Bora, looking just like an ordinary office worker. This man looked very ordinary, but there was an unconcealable ambition hidden in his eyes. Thank the government, thank the leader. Ling Tian seemed to still believe in Buddhism. He put his hands together and bowed to the two policemen. I don't need to bother you. I'll take him away. Don't let me catch your tail. The young policeman looked at Li Fan, full of unwillingness. But Li Fan was in a good mood now, so he was not angry with him. He directly turned his head and sat in Ling Tian's car. Ling Tian followed. After the car started, Li Fan finally asked, "How did you do it? In other words, we can cooperate further, right?" Ling Tian was not in a hurry to reply to Li Fan, instead chuckling as he asked, "Yes, cooperation." Li Fan definitely hoped to grasp a person with this kind of ability in his hands. It's actually not that difficult. As Ling Tian drove, he explained to Li Fan, Fu Fan thinks that he has you under his thumb, but his logic is flawed. He believes that Liu Xinnan is the only one who can save you, so he is now trapping Liu Xinnan, making the young mistress of the Red Dragon Society unable to separate herself. However, now that I'm here, this little trick of his will collapse on its own. Then tell me about it. It's very simple. I'll focus on the suspicions you committed when you first became a suspect. First of all, the time of death of the victim was around 8:30 p.m. In other words, the only time you could prove murder was if you were in the restaurant at that time. I helped you find a prostitute, and I said that you had been visiting prostitutes with her at that time. With this testimony, the police would not be able to pin down you as a suspect. Fuck, how could Ling Tian come up with such a lousy idea? So, you would at most be locked up for a few days for visiting prostitutes. I've already paid the fine for you. It's all my investment in you, so you don't have to pay me back. As for the second time, Fu Fan set up a murder scene for you in prison. That loophole is even bigger. There are also my men in the detention center. They stay there all year round to help me gather information. On the day of the incident, he had been playing the MP3 player I gave him and recorded the conversation between you two. Plus, he testified on your behalf, so the second murder can't be established. Needless to say, Ling Tian's two Tai Chi moves were really amazing. He seemed to be prepared for everything. He even had his spies in the detention center. This person's intelligence network really can't be underestimated. If I don't keep this person under my command, he will probably become a big problem in the future. Ling Tian seemed to feel the murderous intent coming from Li Fan. He hurriedly said, "So, I think highly of you. If we work together, we will definitely be able to achieve what we want." What you said is quite tempting. Li Fan sat in the car. Since that's the case, how about you accompany me to do something first? Proof of allegiance. Ling Tian suddenly turned the steering wheel. The road that was originally heading towards Li Fan's house suddenly turned to the other side. Aha! Li Fan didn't deny it. This was indeed his proof of allegiance to Ling Tian. Ling Tian was different from people like Huang Lei and Bai Lin Luo. He didn't know anything about this person, and he had a feeling that he couldn't see through him. If he were to join the gang, Li Fan would have to test him. You know where I'm going? Li Fan was a little surprised. I'm just making a bold guess. Ling Tian chuckled. Fu Fan is currently leading a group of elders from the Red Dragon Society to force Liu Xinnan to abdicate. I think it won't be long before Liu Xinnan's position as the gang leader is gone. This Red Dragon Society should also change their surname to Fu. Fu Fan, this old thief, he's thinking too much. Li Fan pinched his knuckles and coldly said, he has given me so many beautiful memories. It's time to share them with him. No problem. Ling Tian winked at Li Fan. From now until noon, the two of us will drink in a private room of a bar called Beautiful Times to celebrate your successful release from prison. The boss there is a good friend of mine. He will be our witness. Ling Tian said as he drove the car to the parking lot of the bar and brought Li Fan out of the car. The two of them walked into the bar. Ling Tian brought Li Fan to the basement and entered a very secluded room. I think you won't mind changing into a safer set of clothes. Ling Tian took out 2 black coats, as well as a black hat, sunglasses, and a mask. Basically, he has prepared everything for Li Fan. Li Fan couldn't help but think, with this person's brain and by Lin Luo's IQ, I'm afraid that in the future, I will be like a tiger with wings. The two of them hurriedly changed their clothes. Ling Tian checked the time and brought Li Fan out from a small door. A black Swift was parked outside. Your taste in cars is quite special. Hey, don't look down on my baby. Ling Tian became proud. I spent more than 200,000 to modify this Swift. You can't tell from its appearance. Looking at the Swift, there weren't any special external modifications. There were only some minor adjustments, like a diffuser and a small rear wing. If it's too high profile, it won't be suitable for running. Ling Tian explained, I spent over 200,000 on the chassis control and the engine. Okay, then let's go. We can't let Fu Fan wait for too long. He must miss me. Chapter 345. Fu Fan was very proud of himself. He was about to succeed in forcing the abdication and become the leader of the Red Dragon Society. Although the influence of the previous leader, Liu Shanlong, was still there were too many people who were dissatisfied with Liu Xinnan. Ever since this woman came up, she has been changing the structure of the Red Dragon Society and affected the interests of many elders. She wanted to reform the Red Dragon Society and get rid of the cooperation with the Vanguard Army and the Yellow Cloth Group. Then, there would be even more elders who were dissatisfied. Liu Xinnan was kicked off the stage. This was already a done deal. At this moment, Fu Fan and a group of elders of the Red Dragon Society were sitting in their meeting hall. Although Liu Xinnan was sitting at the head of the table, her expression was not very good. She did not expect Fu Fan to make a move so quickly. Miss Liu, as you can see, the elders don't approve of you continuing to be the leader. Fu Fan held a cigar in his mouth and looked at Liu Xinnan with a smile. You have already weakened the Red Dragon Society. If this continues, I'm afraid we will have to leave the stage of a city. Fu Fan, some of the businesses of the Red Dragon Society are in a tight spot, but this is only a temporary situation. As long as we get through this period, no one in a city can compare to us. You've offended both the Vanguard and the Yellow Uniform Group, and this is your plan? If we want to develop, we must cut off all relations with them. Liu Xinnan had the spirit of a true king. The Red Dragon Society does not need to rely on anyone. Otherwise, we will be suppressed by them forever. Come on, this is just your wishful thinking. The Red Dragon Society does not belong to you alone, nor does it belong to your Liu family. This is the result of all of our hard work. Fu Fan slammed the table. Today, you have to step down. No one supports you anymore, Liu Xinnan. He said loudly, elders, you've all watched this gang grow. If you believe in me, Fu Fan, then vote for me. I will definitely lead the Red Dragon Society back to its peak. Fu Fan, you're really ambitious. Liu Xinnan furrowed her brows and looked at Fu Fan. This person had practically watched her grow up. He took her to the amusement park, rode a boat, and flew a kite. But now, he couldn't stop his expanding ambition. He wanted to usurp power. Power could change a person's heart and make him forget all his feelings. It's not that my ambition is small, it's that you've forgotten our ambition. Fu Fan sighed. Liu Xinnan, you're my niece after all. I watched you grow up. Although we are not related by blood, sometimes I feel like you are my child. But as an elder, I have to be responsible for the entire Red Dragon Society. I can't spoil you and let you gamble with our family business. You can't be the gang leader. Liu Xinnan looked at Fu Fan coldly. I won't allow it. What's the use of that? You no longer have the right to speak. Fu Fan raised his voice by an octave. This is the Elders Guild. May I be so bold as to ask all the respected elders, other than Liu Xinnan, is there anyone else who objects to me being the gang leader? No one uttered a word. Everything seemed to be a foregone conclusion. Liu Xinnan felt as if she had lost all the strength in her body. Every elder here was her uncle. They watched her grow up. But now, they have all betrayed her. With her strength draining away, Liu Xinnan felt that her vision was turning black. This feeling of being out of control made her very uncomfortable. In almost an instant, it was as if everything had changed. Did he admit defeat? Looking at Fu Fan's smiling face, Liu Xinnan was somewhat unwilling. Do you see? Right now, I am the best candidate for the gang leader position. Fu Fan smiled and said, no one can stop me. Before he could finish his words, the glass on the 6th floor suddenly shattered. A black figure rolled in from the outside, bringing along the broken glass. He rolled around the long conference table and then half squatted there, looking at Fu Fan with a smile that is not a smile. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect that someone would be able to jump in from the 6th floor window. This is the 6th floor. Before Fu Fan could react, the figure had already moved. He directly took the tie from the neck of an elder and wrapped it around Fu Fan's neck. He grabbed Fu Fan's neck and jumped down from the 2nd floor, tying the tie to the top of the window. Fu Fan was directly hung on the window, and the figure actually jumped down from the 6th floor, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Looking at Fu Fan, who was already strangled to death, hanging on the window with his tongue hanging out. The man who was about to become the gang leader of the Red Dragon Society has now become a hanging ghost. The people at the scene did not even have the time to react. Even Liu Xinnan was stunned. For a long time, she did not understand what was going on. The one who killed Fu Fan is none other than the disguised Li Fan. He jumped down from the 6th floor, lightly landed on the roof of the Swift, and then jumped in from the window. The little Swift let out a muffled roar of its engine, and then it ran wildly on the road, like a small steel cannon under the sun. The car suddenly jumped up and dashed on the road. Because the car is small, it is very nimble in the streets and alleys. About 2 hours later, Li Fan and Ling Tian came out from the bar. Li Fan was still shaking his head, as if he had drunk too much. Li Fan sat in the car and called Liu Xinnan. When Liu Xinnan received the call, she was very surprised. Li Fan, you're out? Yes, a friend bailed me out. Li Fan felt very uncomfortable as he scolded, Fu Fan, that dog, he actually framed me. Liu Xinnan, find an opportunity to teach him a lesson. Oh, Liu Xinnan paused, he's dead. Fuck, how did he die? Liu Xinnan seemed to be a little hesitant, and then said, let's meet tonight, come to Su Chen's place. A welcoming dinner for me? Sure. 8 o'clock tonight, see you there. Liu Xinnan seemed to have something to deal with, as she hurriedly hung up the phone. Miss Liu asked you to meet tonight, right? Ling Tian asked while driving. You guessed it. She guessed it. Ling Tian shrugged. This woman, being able to become the leader of the Red Dragon Society, is not for nothing. She should have guessed it was you who did it. Didn't we do it flawlessly? A woman's intuition. The moment you came out, Fu Fan died. The government needs evidence, but she doesn't need any evidence. Ling Tian reminded Li Fan, but from today onwards, you should be officially on the government's blacklist. In the future, there will be countless eyes watching you, you must be careful. Chapter 346. At night, the full moon was still hanging high in City A. Everything seemed to be the same. It was still a quiet night. For a place like City A, which was close to the frigid zone, the cold always came too early. Unlike those southern cities with feasting lights, City A lacked nightlife at night. Many businesses closed early at 9 o'clock at night. At 8 o'clock, Li Fan had already sat on Su Chen's yacht and met Liu Xinnan. This place should be Su Chen's office, but Su Chen was driven out. In such a spacious and luxurious place, only Li Fan, Liu Xinnan, and Ling Tian sat there. Liu Xinnan sat on the boss's chair and gently crossed her legs. She was dressed exactly the same as when Li Fan saw her for the first time. They were both wearing denim clothes, beautiful riding boots, and a cowboy hat. This surprised Li Fan a little because Liu Xinnan almost never wore the same clothes. Every time she appeared, she wore different clothes. Even Murong Ying often wore cheongsam, but Liu Xinnan seemed to have a warehouse of clothes. She probably threw away every time she wore one. I remember you said to talk to me alone. Liu Xinnan's eyes fell on Ling Tian. Why is there another guy I don't know? Sorry, Miss Liu, I'm rude. Ling Tian handed over a business card with both hands. I'm Li Fan's legal consultant. Please advise me. Li Fan glanced at the gilded business card and found that it had become the title of legal consultant of Faifan Express. This guy seemed to have prepared everything in advance. You even hired a legal consultant. Liu Xinnan looked at Ling Tian a few more times, as if she wanted to find some flaws in him. But Ling Tian had a professional smile on his face. There was no flaw at all. Yes, and it was he who bailed me out of the detention center. Li Fan said, he's a talent. Talents who stay by your side can't eat their fill. Liu Xinnan crooked her finger at Ling Tian. Why don't you come to me? I'll give you 10 times the salary. Damn, why are you the same as Yang Ruining? You like to throw money at people. Oh. Is there a need to answer this question? Liu Xinnan laughed. Of course it's because we're all rich. Li Fan was speechless. This answer seemed to be flawless. Damn. So what if you're rich? Don't you have friends who know how to chat like this? I'm not asking you. I'm asking you, my legal consultant. To be able to rescue Li Fan from Fu Fan's trap, this Ling Tian was definitely not simple. Now that the Crimson Dragon League needed talents to develop, he would have a way to kick Yang Ruining and the rest behind him. I'm sorry, Miss Liu. I like challenges and adventures. However, Ling Tian rejected Liu Xinnan's invitation. By Miss Liu's side, although there are some challenges, it is far from being with Li Fan. Don't worry, Miss Liu. City A is now divided into 3 parts. It's not impossible if you want to monopolize it. As long as you cooperate with us, we will be your helpers. Not bad. I'll start working for you now. Liu Xinnan said enviously, Li Fan, I really admire you. Where did you find such a treasure? God gave it to me. Li Fan felt that he was lucky to have met Ling Tian, but he didn't want to use this to provoke Liu Xinnan. All right, then I won't force you. What I, Liu Xinnan, hate the most is forcing others to do things. Li Fan wanted to spit, but he held back. Tell me, what is your purpose of finding me? Li Fan decided to get to the point. After all, he hasn't gone home to take a look since he came back. Such a beautiful fiancée and a sister-in-law waiting for him at home. As for Taizhu, Li Fan automatically ignored him. There's no one else here. Tell me the truth, did you kill him? Liu Xinnan believed that Li Fan knew who she was referring to. What are you talking about? Why don't I understand? Li Fan blinked his eyes and looked at Liu Xinnan puzzledly. Who is this he? Do you want to hide it from me? Liu Xinnan was slightly unhappy. You're too much. You can't say it like that. Li Fan smiled. I don't believe that you have nothing to hide from me. Forget it if you don't want to say it. Liu Xinnan rolled her eyes. Anyway, this time Fu Fan's death is also a great help to me. As long as you're happy. If this is all you want to talk about, then I have to go back. Li Fan didn't have much time, he still had to go back to report to his family. There's nothing else, I just want to inform you that our plan is almost ready to be implemented. Liu Xinnan told Li Fan, a few days ago, we almost cracked the map, but recently I have a lot of things to deal with. You know, I helped to send out some trouble. If I don't deal with it properly, I can't move. Okay, then I'll prepare for it. Well, I'll leave this to you. Liu Xinnan said and took out a picture. Li Fan saw this picture and was slightly surprised. Because this picture looked like a monk, He was sitting cross-legged with his hands clasped together, and there were many clear meridians on his body. These meridians seemed to have traces of true qi flow. An outsider might not be able to understand, but an expert would be able to tell. With a glance, Li Fan could tell that this thing was a true qi flow diagram. This thing. Where did it come from? This is one of the gains from cracking the Imperial Jade Seal. Other than the map, it's this picture. In any case, I don't understand it, but I think you should be able to. Of course, Li Fan understood, but he was still very shocked. Because the true qi flow on it was completely anti-human. Although Li Fan didn't learn any other internal energy, he had still referred to Murong Ying's martial god technique. Compared to his 7 heroes force, Murong Ying's martial god technique was more overbearing and more direct. But no matter what internal energy it was, the method of circulation was clockwise. But in this picture, the circulation method was counterclockwise. If one were to circulate it counterclockwise, the internal energy would definitely collapse and tear the body apart. Is this thing real? Could it be that Liu Xinnan wanted to destroy him? Or could it be that after this picture was researched, it was actually reversed? But Li Fan immediately rejected this idea, because the acupuncture points on it were in the same order as a normal person, so it was not that the picture was reversed, but the true qi was indeed flowing in the opposite direction. How is it? Can this thing be cultivated? Is it a peerless divine technique? Chapter 347. It looks like it, but I don't think anyone dares to practice it. Li Fan took another look at the drawing. If I practice this, all my martial arts will be wasted. So powerful. Liu Xinnan was shocked. She thought that she had discovered a treasure, but it turned out to be a self-mutilating martial art? Then forget it. You should keep this drawing. I have no use for it anyway. Maybe one day you will discover its value. Alright then, I'll keep it first. I'll study it when I get back. Li Fan kept the drawing, then stood up with Ling Tian, preparing to leave. Wait. Liu Xinnan suddenly called out to him. What's wrong? That, when are we going to visit our dad again? It's your dad. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why are you still relying on me? Aren't you my boyfriend? That's temporary. It's a show for your dad. It doesn't count, you know. Sigh, you men are just so irresponsible. Liu Xinnan sighed. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Go and play by the side. Go and play with your gang training plan. Li Fan couldn't be bothered to communicate with Liu Xinnan anymore. He left with Ling Tian. I can see that the gang leader of the Red Dragon Society likes you quite a bit. Ling Tian said to Li Fan while driving. Stop fooling around. That woman's acting skills are top-notch. Li Fan expressed that he had suffered greatly. If you believe her words, then you're just making things difficult for yourself. I've also seen a lot of actors, but some feelings can't be acted out. Ling Tian maintained confidence in his own judgment. I believe that if you want, you can become the son-in-law of the Liu family. And then? Li Fan just casually asked one more question. And then, I can't make a judgment right now. Why? Isn't your judgment very good? Li Fan said that there were things that Ling Tian couldn't determine. Of course, because if you're just an ordinary person, you'll become a sacrifice for the Liu family in the future. Ling Tian chuckled and said, after you help the Red Dragon Society become the most powerful society, Liu Shanlong will give you to his 2 old brothers to appease their anger. But if you're just an ordinary person, you won't have the ability to visit the Liu family, so it's very contradictory. Hearing Ling Tian's words, Li Fan was startled. This Ling Tian was indeed farsighted. So, Liu Xinnan wanting to be with me is just a show. Li Fan said, this woman will do anything for her own benefit. I've seen her like that. This woman is really self-centered. Alright, let's not talk about her. What are your plans after this? Ling Tian asked Li Fan for his opinion. Not yet. Li Fan just wanted to have a good rest first. Let's take a rest first. Recently, I've been tossed and turned. There are a lot of things that I need to digest. Alright, you should also be more careful. Ling Tian also agreed with Li Fan's idea. Right now, all parties are watching you. If possible, it's good for you to travel and avoid this period of time. Recently, the Red Dragon Society might make some big moves. Maybe they'll fight with the other two big gangs. Being able to avoid arousing suspicion is naturally the best. Alright, then I'll take a leave from school and go out to play. Li Fan thought to himself, should I go abroad to look for my parents? If I go there, I won't be kicked away like a third wheel, right? Forget it, I'll just find a place with verdant hills and clear waters. Li Fan had a good idea, but his phone suddenly rang. He didn't know why, but this ringtone sounded very urgent. Li Fan picked it up and saw that it was an unfamiliar number. Do you want to pick it up? I have to, it doesn't look good if I don't pick it up. Li Fan picked up the phone and heard a girl's voice. Li Fan, you finally turned on your phone. This voice was very familiar, and Li Fan was a little surprised. Yin Xiaoru? I've been looking for you for so long, you bastard. Yin Xiaoru scolded, and Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why are you scolding me the moment you call? Miss Yin, you're a lady, how can you be so uncultured? Uncultured my ass. I've been looking for you for so long, I'm going crazy. What's the matter, looking for me to marry? Li Fan teased, which made Yin Xiaoru unhappy again. Bullshit. I want you to do me a favor. What favor? Li Fan was very direct. How much money can you give? Money, money, money. You only know money. Will you die if you don't give money? I'll die of poverty. Li Fan's words made Yin Xiaoru speechless. We can talk about the price. Is it convenient to talk over there? It's convenient to talk, but are you sure the price is okay? Li Fan reminded Yin Xiaoru, you already went bankrupt the last time. Humph, I'll get the money. I don't want dirty money. Dirty your sister, you're the dirty one. Your whole family is dirty. Yin Xiaoru was obviously angry. Anyway, I'll definitely give you the money. Do you want it or not? Say what's the matter first. Li Fan grumbled, you haven't even said anything, and you're already asking me if I want it or not. If you ask me to sleep with you, won't I lose a lot? Thanks my ass. Yin Xiaoru scolded, it's to help me, help my cousin. Help your sister? Help your sister for what? My sister is the daughter of the Golden Eagle Castle Lord. Heh! Li Fan was stunned, Yin Xiaoru had such a close relative. And also so rich. You have such a powerful relative, but you still want to go out and steal? Your sister, I'm not stealing for money. Yin Xiaoru was very unhappy, you're not allowed to tarnish my sacred profession. Forget it. Li Fan rolled his eyes, thief is even more sacred. Anyway, you're not allowed to say it. Yin Xiaoru hurriedly changed the topic, my cousin is too unlucky, it's already this era, and there's still a martial arts competition, this kind of feudal thing. I want you to win the martial arts competition and then leave. Sister, are you trying to make me happy? Li Fan almost laughed out loud, the people who participated in that groom search competition are not ordinary people. My cousin has a jade pendant passed down from her ancestors, it's priceless. Yin Xiaoru began to negotiate the price, if you help me this time, this jade pendant is yours. This is not a matter of money, it's probably worth more than 3 million. When should I go? Humph, didn't you say it's not a matter of money? Indeed it's not a matter of money, it's to resist this backward feudal superstition. Li Fan righteously said, this kind of thing absolutely cannot be done. Don't worry, leave this matter to me. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.